chaos of life, where paths diverge, seeking peace, not just in the dark or the light. Heavenly Father, hear our humble cry. Guide us through the storm, show us the sky. Loud voices, conflicting views, hearts that break, yet in the midst we yearn to make a quiet mind in the loudest din. Listen for your voice, Lord, please begin. Dear Heavenly Father, hear our plea. In this world of confusion, help us see. Quiet our minds, open our eyes to your still small voice, Lord, let it rise. In the silence we find our way. With every heartbeat we choose to stay, holding on to faith as the shadows sway. Your love surrounds us, night turns to day. Let the worries fade like whispers in the wind. In your gentle grace also begin to mend. Together we'll rise, hand in hand, side by side, with a heart full of hope. In you we confide. Deception and schemes, they seek to divide, but deep inside we long to unite. Lord, show us beyond the lies we see. Help us find the truth, set us free. Loud voices, conflicting views, hearts that break, yet in the midst we yearn to make a quiet mind in the loudest din. Listen for your voice, Lord, please begin. Dear Heavenly Father,
hear our plea.
In this world of confusion,
help us see.
Quiet our minds, open our eyes to your still small voice, Lord, let it hear. Dear Heavenly Father,
hear our plea.
In this world of confusion,
help us see.
Quiet our minds, open our eyes to your still small voice, Lord, let it rise. I stood at the gates with nothing to bring, no medals to wear, no songs left to sing, no list of good deeds I could hold in my hand, just a lifetime of trying to understand. St. Peter looked kindly and asked me why. I thought for a moment, then lifted my eyes. The man in the middle said I could come. The man in the middle said I belong. Not because I earned it, not because I won. The man in the middle said I could come. I remembered my failures, remembered my fears, the mistakes and regrets I carried for years. The times I stumbled, the times I fell, the prayers I whispered when life wasn't well. And then I remember the promise he made, and all of my worries just faded away. ever need. The man in the middle said I could come. The man in the middle said I belong. No crown of glory, no perfect song, just faith in the one who carried me along. Oh, the man in the middle said I could come. The man in the middle said I belong. No crown of glory, no perfect song, just faith in the one who carried me along. The man in the middle said I could come. The man in the middle said I belong. Not because I earned it, not because I won. The man in the middle said I could come. And if someday someone asks me, why are you here? I won't say, because I was good enough. I won't say, because I earned my place. I'll simply smile and say, the man in the middle said I could come.
Good evening. It's 5:45 p.m. and the boss is getting ready to talk to us. Let's see, is the White House up and running yet? No, not yet. But we'll get to that in a minute. We've got a few things going on. So ABC, NBC, and CBS are not covering Trump's White House speech tonight. When it comes out, and it's absolutely going to come out, that all three of them were absolutely complicit in knowingly helping to provide cover for the stolen election. Their decision not to carry a speech tonight will make all the sense in the world. And I have a feeling that it is going to be partially about that. I think there's going to be a few things. I don't know. You don't know. We don't know nothing. We don't know diddly squat. But anyways, let's go ahead and take a look. It's going to be something else. So, to say the least, I wanted to go right here.
Senator, you've received almost $700,000 from the illegal labor lobby. Is that why you voted against the Save America Act?
Can you tell me who the illegal labor lobby is?
Yes, it's contractors, general contractors, hospitality companies, industries, construction companies and industries. You're receiving almost $700,000 from these lobbyists.
Do you have any idea what a remarkably silly question that is?
I think it's a pretty important one. I think your constituents want to know why you're betraying them.
Some math. You know what my election cycle, the total total all-in election cycle cost was in 2020. It's $300 million. Do you honestly believe that I would make a policy decision based on that?
I don't know why you're betraying your constituents. Why are you betraying your constituents? Why are you betraying your constituents, Senator? We just want secure elections, Senator. You're preventing us from getting that. You're betraying America. What a strange thing for Senator Tillis to say. $700,000 is not enough. You don't sell out for any amount of money. But Tom Tillis says he sells out, but not for that amount.
He admitted it right there. And he's smug and he's acting like he has all the power and nobody's ever going to get him. And he doesn't care who you are. You're not one of those accredited fake news agencies that.
So let's understand something. $300 million is what it cost for his seat to begin with. Is that what they're saying? Is that what Tillis is saying? I mean, 300 million. Has anybody looked at the FEC reports on this or anything like that? I'm curious, but LT, go ahead.
Give me a break and let me get by with theft and lying to the people that supported me, supposedly elected him in. 11 Republican senators have told the conservative base they support the SAVE Act. 8,312,574 from the cheap labor lobby says otherwise. $8 million from 4 cheap labor sectors.
So we got John Thune has received 1.5 million. John Cornyn has received 1.3 million. Mitch McConnell received 1.2 million. Susan Collins received 821,000. Tom Tillis, 673,000. Bill Cassidy, 627,000. John Barrasso, 619,000. James Lankford, 424,000. Lisa Murkowski, 414,000. Katie Britt, 285,000. And Dan Sullivan, 277,000.
So John Thune received $1.5 million. John Cornyn, $1.3 million. Mitch McConnell, $1.2 million. And Katie Britt, $285,000. Dan Sullivan, $277,000. How can we trust them when they profit off America last policy? This will be the path forward with public outrage to jail many so-called untouchables. Well, he appeared to be untouchable, didn't he, old Tillis?
Yeah. It's interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Senator.
And then there's this here. Donald Trump doesn't know how to play chess. And our allies tonight even told me in meetings that because Donald Trump keeps shifting his objectives. Who was it? Because Donald Trump, well, I'll tell you when the president tells us who he's negotiating with.
So you don't,
when
so
the
you're
president
claiming
keeps
you had
moving
high-level
our
conversations with other countries tonight?
I talk to people from the region all the time,
The
Scott.
region or with the governments?
Scott, here's the point. Here's the point. The people in that region who are our allies have been very public. Donald Trump doesn't know how to play chess. And our allies tonight
former RNC chairman, North Carolina Senate candidate, Michael Whatley. Great to see you this morning. So communism, aka Democrat socialism, seems to be on the rise across the country. In Michigan, you have the DSA endorsed candidate Abdullah Sayed saying that Chuck Schumer is basically not radical enough to run the Democrat Party. Take a listen to this.
Let's say we come around to January, Chuck Schumer is still standing for leader. Would you vote to make him leader in the United States Senate?
The day I get elected, my job is to make sure that we've got somebody like Chris Van Hollen who is running to be Senate Majority Leader. So long as you've got a system of politics that is more focused on getting corporate donors and APAC rather than investing and getting money out of people, out of politics, putting money back in people's pockets and passing Medicare for all, putting people back in the center of politics, the faster we get a Senate that actually functions. And I don't know that the Senator Schumer has that in his capacity.
So he prefers Chris Van Hollen, the man who flew to El Salvador to have margaritas with an alleged gang member. What are your thoughts on all this and essentially the new Democrat Party?
Well, the new Democratic Party is walking further and further away from Main Street. They are walking away from communities all across North Carolina. The fact is that when Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi are no longer liberal enough, then you have a party that is verging on crazy. And we need to make sure that people understand what this party stands for, what the Democrats stand for. My opponent, Roy Cooper, right out there, flag waving, for this party right now. This is not what North Carolina needs.
And so, keeping this nationally, I mean, they actually nominated a guy in Maine who was a communist, an accused rapist, a Nazi tattoo. I mean, this is, even though he dropped out of the race, this just shows you how far to the left the Democrat Party has come. Do you think not only in your race, but every Republican can tie every Democrat opponent to some of this madness? Because I think it's just too much for most mainstream people.
It is, absolutely. And I think that Roy Cooper is going to have the identical voting record of Abdul Sayed. I think he would have the exact same voting record as a Graham Plattner. He would have the same voting record as James Tallarico. I mean, he is going to be in the middle of that mob right now, running for campaign. When they talk about ending all of prisons, Roy Cooper already let all the prisoners out, 4,200 of them that he put out on the street, the worst of the worst pedophiles, rapists, and murderers that he released because he didn't want them to get COVID in jail. When they talk about raising taxes, he is right there with them, wanting to raise taxes, vetoing tax cuts as the governor. This is a guy who is going to fight harder for criminals and illegal aliens, just like the Democratic Party that we're viewing today.
And I know recently you embarked on a 100-county tour there in North Carolina to bring attention to your race. Can you tell us about it? What is your closing message for the voters there in North Carolina?
We have such an amazing state. We've got mountains, we've got the beaches, we've got everything in between. We've got cities, we've got rural areas. And the one message that I heard in all 100 of our counties, people want a fighter for North Carolina. People want somebody who's going to go in there and fight for them so that they can make more, they can keep more, to keep their kids and communities safe, to make sure that our military has the support and supplies that they need to carry out their mission all around the world. It is an amazing state, North Carolina. Roy Cooper should get out of the basement and go visit it.
Michael Watley, great to talk with you this morning. Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
Have a great morning, guys.
You too.
All right.
Information.
And then, already covered that one. This guy here, Democrat endorsed Flint, Michigan Councilman Leon Elliman, charged with election fraud for allegedly falsely claiming he lived in Flint while to run for city council. The thing that never happens keeps on happening. Yeah. And then I'd like to jump into this one, but however, the president is getting ready to come on. So the First Nations chiefs are pushing for new standalone legislation that would make questioning or downplaying the residential school narrative criminal offense, punishable by up to 2 years in prison. 5 years after the 2021 Kamloops 215 unmarked graves announcement based solely on ground penetrating radar anomalies with 0 bodies exhumed, no mass graves have been confirmed. Yet the genocide label triggered a wave of over 120 church arsons, vandalisms, and desecrations. Now, as Justin Trudeau appears in Katy Perry's Watch It Burn music video filmed inside a church with lyrics about lighting matches and watching it burn, chiefs demand jail time for denialism. In this video, Dan Bricks of Press for Truth breaks down the lack of forensic evidence, the millions spent, the delayed reports, and why criminalizing speech is not about protecting people, it's about protecting the narrative. Canada needs truth, excavations, and full transparency, not more censorship. That's what he says. Yeah. So, and then this is going on.
All right, if you think that these forest fires that are happening in Northern Ontario right now are organic, just an act of God, then you are exactly where they want you to be. And I'm going to show you what's really going on right now. Now, first of all, as a Canadian that's been living in Ontario most of my life, this is not normal. What we've been seeing the past few years, far from normal. The first part of this agenda is they're trying to convince you that climate change is a real thing. There's a lot of other agendas that go into this, so pay attention. First, I'm going to break down how they are doing this, how they are causing these fires, and number two, why they are doing this. First of all, for many, many years since you've been born, they've been littering our skies with heavy metals. Things like barium, aluminum, strontium, graphene falling from our skies into our soil. This is not some conspiracy. Go out on your car, scrape up the dust that you see on your car in the morning and use a magnet, and you'll see that it's magnetic because heavy metals are falling from the sky. This has been patented. There's hundreds of patents on it. They've been blowing the whistle on this for many, many years. The government has come out and admitted they spray chemtrails on us. All you need to do is look up and see. What's happening is as these heavy metals have been falling from the sky for so many years, the ground absorbs these heavy metals. The roots of the trees absorb these heavy metals. The trees then become very flammable. How do they spark this? Well, it's through directed energy weapons. Have a listen to this.
Or green or something like that. Real lasers, one of the key advantages that they provide is that they are invisible. You actually can't see them. You just see this damage suddenly starting to blow something up. So if we take a look now at what the Athena did to a truck. So we're looking at a truck engine, and the Athena within seconds was able to beam right in there, heat the whole thing up, and burn through the engine of this vehicle. So if you can imagine if you were in that vehicle, all of a sudden this hole would start appearing in your engine.
To assess all these forest fires that were happening in the recent past in Maui and LA and all these places, and the cars melted into the ground, aluminum quite literally melting into cement. This is from directed energy weapons. Again, not a conspiracy, guys. They have these things mounted to like Boeing 747s that can hit fucking targets 60 miles away. It's a tweet from the Department of War. Yes, the Department of War has directed energy weapons. Yes, we are scaling them. No mistake, this is exactly what's happening. These psychopaths that, control this world, that control the money supply, that poison your air, food, and water, what they're doing is they're lighting up these rural areas because they're trying to push everyone into their 15-minute smart cities, a complete control grid run by AI and, smart cars or electric cars that you can't go out of the cities. It is complete and total control, and this is the agenda. And I do also want to say that no matter how evil these people are, love always wins. We will rise up. Fuck all this bullshit. Focus on the love and the peace. Peace and love.
Yeah, what he said. Yeah. And this guy, Florida U.S. congressional candidate William Upham, has just been arrested and charged with threatening to kill President Trump. Duval County Jail records. If convicted, he faces 5 years in prison. This guy is a total psycho. He was a Marine lieutenant. All right, he said, to all of God's children, you must overthrow the Trump administration on behalf of God. Trump is the Antichrist, and he will be killed and sent to hell. Lock him up ASAP. Yeah. All right, let's jump over here because we know it's going to be happening here any moment. So let's go ahead and get this over here and make sure that we're live. Yeah, okay. And that'll be starting any minute now. I wonder if he's just going to be talking from his desk or if he's going to be going into a press room or what. Where are we going to be, Mr. President? Where are we going to be? Where are we going to be? Yeah. Safety meeting? Yes, we can have a safety meeting. Absolutely. Because the president's coming up and we need to make sure that, that everybody understands that this safety meeting is sponsored by the tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists of YouTube. Yeah. Yeah. By us. Sponsored by us. Yeah. How about that? Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it? Yeah.
Good evening. Before we begin, I'm proud to report that our country is safer, stronger, and far wealthier than it has ever been before. We are doing great. Less than 2 years ago, we inherited an economic and social disaster. After the worst inflation in 48 years, the wide open borders with millions and millions of people pouring in from all over the world, including criminals of all types, and 11,888 murders many of whom killed more than one person. We had transgender for everybody, men and women sports, crime ravaging our cities, and the whole world was laughing at us as a nation, but not anymore. 2 years ago, our country was dead. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world. America is respected like we have never been respected before. We have more money being invested in the United States than at any time in the history of our country. More Americans are working today than ever before. This week it was announced that inflation saw the largest monthly decline in more than 6 years. Just happened. It was just given out. The media reported it, and we accept it. The best in 6 years. The tax cuts in our great, big, beautiful bill are saving hardworking families thousands and thousands of dollars, like with the provisions, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors, along with the interest deduction on a loan used to purchase a car, but only if that car is made in America, and a 100% expensing for our job-creating businesses. Our stock markets are at their highest point in many years, but we can actually say of all time. And your 401ks, pensions, and retirement accounts are setting records every single day, the highest in history. For years, we paid the highest price for prescription drugs anywhere in the world. Now we pay the lowest price under my most favored nation's policy because I was able to get the rest of the world and the pharmaceutical companies to act responsibly. Drug prices are coming down by 70, 80, and 90%. TrumpRx.gov, this will ultimately reduce the cost of healthcare. You have to go to TrumpRx.gov and take advantage of it. But the cost of healthcare is coming way down because of what we've done with prescription drugs. And with Trump accounts, every child in America now has access to a tax-free investment account to save for their future. Billions and billions of dollars are being invested, put in by companies and individuals to take care of our children so that at age 18, they will have potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in their account, and they'll get off to a great start in life. So for that, go to TrumpAccounts.gov and sign up your child or any child you'd like to sign up. Our previously wide open borders have been transformed into the most secure borders in the history of our country, with 0 illegal aliens being admitted to the United States in the past 14 months. That is 0. Nobody thought it was possible. We had the worst border in the history of our country, and now we have the best. Crime is plummeting nationwide with the murder rate at its lowest level since 1900, or more than 125 years ago. We're making a record investment in our armed forces, and we have the strongest and most powerful military by far anywhere in the world. I built it during my first term, and unfortunately, we're forced to use it now. We won in Venezuela, which is now working with us to produce millions and millions of barrels of oil. We are likewise winning big in Iran, and you will see the fruits of that labor very, very shortly. America is back and doing really well, but we still have a major challenge that must be urgently addressed because no country can be great without fair and honest elections. You have to trust your country, because if there can be no trust, there can be no greatness. And that's very simple. No trust, no greatness. For many years, I've called for bold, swift, and decisive action to protect the integrity of America's elections. Every American deserves to know that when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately in a system, and that is to make that system secure. One where cheating and interference are not just difficult, but virtually impossible. Unfortunately, the system we have today falls catastrophically short of that standard. Tonight, I'm announcing the immediate declassification and release of critical intelligence revealing shocking vulnerabilities in our election infrastructure. This evidence shows that the election system we have dangerously exposes and really exposes like levels never thought possible to hacking, exploitation, and foreign interference. Just as disturbingly, this vital information has for many years been covered up and hidden from you, the American people, our beautiful, our great American people. But that all changes right now. The documents we will release starting tonight have been gathered by the White House Government Transparency Task Force, a great group of people, along with the staff of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board, supported by our top intelligence agency chiefs, who have all personally reviewed the findings. We are presenting this evening and fully confirmed their authenticity. You can see these documents for yourself at whitehouse.gov. That's whitehouse.gov. Go check it out. Our purpose in disclosing this information is not to weaken confidence in election, but to earn that confidence by confronting vulnerabilities and correcting them very, very quickly. And that's what we're doing. The documents cover 5 major areas of concern. First, they show that over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files. That information includes names, addresses, phone numbers, political party preferences, and other sensitive data that would be needed to register to vote and engage in other nefarious activities, which is exactly what was happening. This data loss presents an unprecedented election security nightmare. The intelligence even shows that China has signed a data exploitation unit specifically to this new project. Compounding the travesty, the second set of documents we are releasing reveals that members of the deep state, very, very famous group of people, in many cases, in our intelligence agency work to actively suppress and downplay information about the extent of China's sinister election meddling, covering it up from both the president and the American people like nobody thought was possible. U.S. spy agencies began learning about the compromise of voter registration files in 2020. Nobody thought was possible. U.S. spy agencies began learning about the compromise of voter registration files in 2020 when they discovered that tens of millions of voter data, think of that, tens of millions of voters' data in 18 states have been bought, stolen, or hacked by China. Yet those responsible for sounding the alarm instead kept the information secret and hidden. They did not disclose to me as president or to anyone else, and to the best of our knowledge, they did not inform Congress. In fact, all they kept saying is, this is the most secure election in the history of our country. A standard, very pat line that was divvied out to say. The cover-up of this colossal security breach is even more disturbing in light of the additional information showing that China engaged in other election-related activities to undermine my first administration and our 2020 campaign. They did not want, and they just didn't want it. They fought like hell not to have it, Donald Trump, to win, and for good reason. As the documents we are releasing show, CIA reporting explicitly stated, and I quote, in mid-2018, the Chinese Communist Party's policy was to leverage all domestic and foreign elements that were opposed to the U.S. president in an effort to reduce the U.S. president's votes and make him resign or prevent his re-election. Isn't that nice? Also in mid 2018, China was working to influence the results of the U.S. midterm elections and later the results of the 2020 presidential election itself. Separately, in mid-2019, the Chinese government's strategy against the United States was focused on undermining domestic confidence in the U.S. president. They wanted to just make you sound like your president wasn't so hot, when actually your president has done a great job, and they did everything possible to do exactly that. Going on, this document says, and this is by the CIA, the strategy included efforts to use Chinese contacts with big U.S. companies to influence U.S. business leaders to turn against the President of the United States of America. The Chinese government sought to identify U.S. journalists who had reported negatively on the U.S. president and pay them large sums of money to write more negative articles about him, as many as they could, and they didn't care what they said. The Chinese government wanted U.S. president to lose the next election, and the reason they wanted me to lose is because they knew I was wise to them, charged them billions and billions of dollars worth of tariffs, and built the strongest military anywhere in the world. We have the strongest military anywhere in the world. These are exact quotes from the CIA reporting. The name of the person doing the quote is now under review, but it gets even worse. Raw intelligence obtained by the FBI in 2020, yet buried by rogue bureaucrats, stated that China's activities even included an attempt to manufacture illegal ballots for Joe Biden. Documents show that during this period, dozens of significant CIA and NSA reports about China's election targeting were kept out of the presidential briefing. These were briefings I would get almost every day. Everything was kept out that was of importance. One email among intelligence analysts admitted that they had, quote, deliberately massaged the presidential daily briefing to withhold information regarding Chinese activities related to the election. Another official inside the FBI wrote that she was running, quote, a shadow government, unquote, to keep intelligence about China's election meddling from becoming known and to keep it away from the honorable press. Other officials who witnessed such efforts perceived the motivations to be blatantly political. Recently, we found significant numbers of burn bags in formation, and this is a group of bags that were used to destroy information given by President Barack Hussein Obama to be burned. It was supposed to be burned. These bags were supposed to be at a different level by different people, incinerated and checked, but it never happened. Maybe we got lucky. We believe this was not done on purpose, but rather through gross incompetence of the people that was supposed to burn the bags. But the findings are stunning. Today, I'm asking the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the CIA to investigate how and why such crucial information was hidden, to fire those involved in the cover-up, and to file criminal charges, if appropriate, against these people. Yet concealing China's meddling was only the beginning. The third set of documents we are releasing proves that for many years, Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure, including electronic voting machines and ballot counting systems. Dishonest, almost all. They're vulnerable and they're easily compromised, and people within our government knew that. Tonight, we're publishing a series of previously classified U.S. intelligence community assessments and other reports proving that our government has long known these machines are extremely exposed to attack. As one assessment states, we judge that the United States adversaries, including at a minimum Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, as well as non-state groups, have the capability to compromise U.S. election infrastructure. That's unquote, but that's some statement, isn't it? Made by supposedly great patriots of our country. The document goes on to further state that, quote, we assess that centralized election-related data repositories, such as voter registration databases, poll books, and other official election websites, are most vulnerable to exploitation, and adversaries could use this access to these systems to disrupt election processes within the United States of America. Tonight, we're releasing all of those findings, and spanning from January 2020 to June 2026. This is a cyber threat aimed at the very heart of our democracy. Many people have questioned whether it could actually be possible to electronically manipulate vote totals or change election results on these terrible machines. Today, we are releasing documents that show the CIA obtained reporting of a specific plot to do a big number in favor of the corrupt Maduro regime in Venezuela. And that's exactly what happened, conspiring to digitally rig their own country's elections in 2020, and that's what they did. This reporting included precise details about methods to regime develop to digitally alter vote totals in ways that could not be detected even with an audit, no matter how deep they went. This intelligence underscores why we must take urgent action to ensure that our own system can never, ever be hacked or compromised like it was in the past. The fourth set of documents reveals that even when significant evidence of fraud has been detected, it has been buried and covered up. Among the disclosures tonight are FBI files detailing evidence of alleged fraud by a large-scale voter registration operation in Michigan. In 2020, Michigan State Police raided a Democrat Get Out the Vote organization, corrupt group in Muskegon. And we're so concerned by what they found. They were just so concerned, they couldn't believe it, actually, that they contacted the FBI in Detroit. The documents state that some canvassers admitted to FBI agents that they signed voter registration forms in other people's names, submitted fraudulent registration for people who did not exist, and received gift cards tied to their number of applications that they produced. In other words, it was pay, play, and cheat. The FBI agents working on the case believe that crimes were committed, yet the Biden Department of Justice slow-walked the investigation and killed it. Tonight, I'm asking the FBI director to ensure that the matter is fully investigated and to work with the Department of Justice to prosecute those responsible for any crimes. Finally, to reveal just how vulnerable our elections continue to be, we are releasing the results of a stunning investigation by the Department of Homeland Security. According to the DHS review, state voter rolls and public records, they identified approximately 278,000 non-citizens who are registered to vote in federal elections. Since Democrat states refuse to share their voter files, the real number is actually much higher than that. Yet, even this limited analysis found more than 250,000 foreigners illegally registered to vote. Put together, these disclosures reveal an election system so broken and so vulnerable that no one can possibly defend it. It is not defensible. Hundreds of millions of U.S. voter files are in the hands of foreign governments. Our machines and ballot counting systems are exposed to hacking and manipulation and corruption. China and other countries have been trying to meddle in our elections. Evidence of fraud has been buried. Hundreds of thousands of non-citizens and dead people are listed and active on the voter rolls. And yet we still have elections with no voter ID, no proof of citizenship, and tens of millions of ballots floating aimlessly through the mail. As one example of the insanity, California's recent election for mayor of LA and governor was held on June 2nd, a long time ago, but it was just completed a few days ago on July 10th. Think of that, much more than 1 month. Took a month to count the votes. I wonder what they were doing. This is worse than any third world country. There's no third world country that has elections like we have. In a rare move, NBC and ABC Fake News have both said that they would not cover this speech. They knew what it was about because of the fact that they don't like the topic, because they know how corrupt our system is and they don't want to reveal it. They and others in the media are part of a plot. They want to continue this fraud for whatever reason. They want to keep it going. They want to protect the radical left. They can't have a great country, and that's true. You can't have a great country without free and fair elections. Fraud like this should mean a revocation of their licenses. They use our public multi-billion-dollar in value airways for absolutely no money. They pay nothing. All we want is honesty in our elections and honesty in reporting. They pay nothing for multi-billion-dollar assets. Great damage has been done to our country. Our elections were left vulnerable to being rigged and stolen, and the trust of the American people was lost. This cannot be allowed to continue. Every American, whether you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, or otherwise, should be able to agree that we deserve the most secure, honest, and fair election system anywhere in the world. Secure elections should be a partisan, really, we should be together, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, everybody. And it should not be a partisan issue. It should cause to unite us, not to divide us. This should be a cause. We should be united, not divided. In light of the brand new and irrefutable information I have revealed tonight, my administration is in the process of notifying the states whose election data was compromised by the People's Republic of China and many others. We will be working closely to mitigate any harm, and we're taking swift action to ensure that sensitive voter data is better protected so we can never be bought, we can never be hacked, and we can never watch a stolen election again. Tomorrow, the Secretary of Homeland Security will hold a briefing to outline his department's recent work confirming cyber vulnerabilities in our electronic voting systems. They are bad. We're in the process of informing governors, senators, and members of Congress of potential issues in their states. If you look at voting today, it's in such bad shape in so many states, and we are committing to fix it. And we're also committing to be working with those states and local jurisdictions to help them fix and patch known technical vulnerabilities before the midterm elections. We have very important elections coming up. We want those elections to be honest. I've also ordered DHS to notify every state about non-citizens on their voter rolls and direct them to remove all ineligible voters from the lists immediately. But most importantly, addressing this crisis of election security demands that Congress must pass the Save America Act. How easy is that to do unless you want to cheat? The only reason you wouldn't do it is you want to cheat because your policies are so bad and your candidates are so pathetic that you can't get away or can't get elected any other way. This landmark bill requires that all voters must show photo voter ID. How simple is that? Could I have your photo, please? Photo voter ID. All voters must provide proof of citizenship. Are you a citizen of our country, please? And hopefully there will be no corrupt mail-in ballots, which if you watched California and so many other places, mail-in ballots are inherently corrupt. So you would have no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel if you're going away on business or vacation. These reforms are urgently needed to stop the vulnerabilities that I've mentioned. To all Americans, I ask you to pick up your phone tomorrow, call your representatives in the House and Senate, and demand that they pass the Save America Act without delay. Together, we will restore faith and confidence in our country, and we will be bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Thank you. God bless you. God bless our great military, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
That was kind of brief, wasn't it? I think that was probably the shortest speech in Donald Trump's history. I'm not kidding. I'm so not kidding. I don't think that he has ever spoken less. This was
The whole world was pouring in from all over the longer and far wealth.
Let's see. Come on. When does it start? When did it start? So that speech was basically 25 minutes long. 25 minutes long. It's kind of yeah. So he started at 15 minutes and 40 or 15 minutes. I think it was 2 seconds. And if we take it back that half a step, okay, watch close. 1, 2, 1, 2. That's right when he came on. So with that, what's that make? What's that make? Make 17, doesn't it? You know, a 1, a 5, and a 2 makes 17. Yeah. 5 and 2 is 7. 1, 17. Just saying. Quite possibly. So, yeah, it's interesting that that speech is that long. How many minutes is that? It's let me see. My math sucks. Let's see, 1426 or 4126 minus 1503. 26 minutes and 23 seconds. 26 minutes and so let's go to I'll go to 26, 23. Let's just say, is Gitmo going to be used for U.S. citizens? Cabal detention centers being prepped, monitor funding. Q. Okay. Well, let's get rid of. Let's do this. Let's do. 262. Oops. I messed that up, didn't I? Oh, hashtag. No, that's not it. Hashtag would be it. No, that would. Yeah, that at sign is just really got to go. 262. And let's do 263. And then let's do 3262. For the mirror. Let's see what comes up. Knowingly. Knowingly. That was a pretty big word. He said knowingly quite a few times, didn't he? Yeah, he said quite a few times. Yeah. Again, is Gitmo going to be used for U.S. citizens cabal? 3 detention centers being prepped. Monitor funding. Fly, Rothschild, fly. Red Stringer 25th. Hussein Red video 27th. Response, Hussein in Asia on 28th. Post Stringer. Analysis confidence. More than one meaning. Hussein Red indictments variables. Think circle. Expand your thinking. Take multiple paths. One connects to another. Learn to read the map. The map is the key. Find the keystone. What holds everything together? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't know. But I have a feeling that those the two people from Georgia needs to start worrying about whether they're going to hold a seat. I think that there is, I think it's all going to be of interest. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth just won in court. U.S. Appeals Court overturns lower ruling and allows the Pentagon to block fake news like the New York Times from freely roaming the halls of the Pentagon, which could jeopardize national security information. They are likely to succeed on their argument that this policy does not violate the First Amendment. This is a big win against leakers and the fake news who enable them. Yep. So that happened. And then Lindsey Graham died of an aortic dissection. I've seen a dozen aortic dissections in the last 4 years. I'd seen 2 in my entire career before that. I don't know if it's COVID. I don't know if it's the vaccine. Interesting. And now that's coming out. Wouldn't that be something if it turned around and it showed that the reason that for the death of Lindsey Graham was COVID? Boy, wouldn't that open up a whole can of worms and put a whole bunch of people into the spotlight that are trying to stay out of it. Yeah. All right. So tonight, POTUS is declassifying records about the Chinese Communist Party's multi-domain influence operations in 2020. CCP used all elements of government power, trade, diplomacy, social media, open source reporting to undermine his reelection. President Trump called it the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's acquisition of 200 million U.S. voter files. Note, CCP could use this data for multiple purposes: voter fraud, identity theft, and to target Americans for recruitment. President Trump said the Chinese influence operations was intentionally suppressed by elements of the U.S. intelligence community and withheld from him. In April, I reported on the whistleblower complaint that is central to the China election influence and meddling allegations. For speaking up about the bias and the suppression of intelligence, the whistleblower was severely retaliated against. There is an opportunity now to make it right for them and their family. Yeah, so that was Catherine Herridge. Follow the pen, right? You were told to follow the pen, right? Yeah. All right. Supreme Court agreed 9-0 that foreign diplomats' kids do not receive birthright citizenship, but the federal government has failed to enforce that rule, potentially allowing thousands to obtain citizenship illegally. I'm demanding Secretary Rubio and Secretary Mullins, DHS, shut this down. There you go. All right. And yeah. You remember the
And so would I have somebody put a microphone up in my face and say, why are you against voter ID?
Wait, did Tom Tillis just reference me on the Senate floor? Senator, you've received almost $700,000 from the illegal labor lobby. Is that why you voted against the Save America Act? I don't know why you're betraying your constituents.
Who you work for?
I'm independent.
Okay.
Why are you betraying your constituents?
It can't be done. It can't be a serious effort. And if it is a serious effort, I would suggest that they engage somebody who's actually implemented it before, instead of assuming that they can, because they simply can't. And so would I have somebody put a microphone up in my face and say, why are you against voter ID? I'd say, first, do your homework.
Yeah, I did my homework, Tom. You and 3 other rhinos voted against nationwide secure elections. I get you're still butthurt that I called you out, but America Last will be your legacy. I hope you're proud.
Yeah, you got kind of caught there, Mister. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Yeah, I said it. Why is X having such a hard time tonight? What's going on with this? Yeah. So, and then here we go. Election integrity. Ensuring the integrity of our elections is fundamental in preserving trust in American democracy. Following the 2020 presidential election, concerns about the potential irregularities prompted detailed examinations of voting processes, data security, and registration practices across multiple states. Below, you can download documents and reports addressing key areas of election integrity. So it's got everything: vulnerabilities in electronic voting and ballot counting systems, Chinese acquisitions and exploitation of American voter data, Michigan voter registration investigation, non-citizens on state voter rolls. It's got the vulnerabilities and so all the statements are here. And the thing is this site is pretty. They're actually staying really on top of things. Wow, that print is really, really small, isn't it? I probably do you better if I went like that, so you can actually see it. Yeah. This is the kind of interaction that we always wished we had when we were growing up, because of the fact that we would like to be more involved in the processes, but we weren't allowed to do that because of the fact that it was more convenient for government to work behind our backs and stab us in the back and everything else. And now that somebody's putting it all out there in the front, people aren't happy about it. We got people who are saying, well, he talks too much. And it's, well, then it's, you want to know what? I'm glad he talks too much, because if he talks too much, then that means he's got something to say. And if he's got something to say, there's probably something to it, especially seeing you don't have a whole bunch of Republicans out there saying that he's lying about it. The only people saying anything about it are the people who were helped by these situations that are complaining about it. Just saying, there's always something to it. But yes, that is available. Oh, I probably could have dropped the link, huh? That probably would have been a nice thing to do. Let's see. Where is it? Oh, it's 31. 31 of these. I got to go through 31 of these things to find a damn game for you guys. There we go. Go back to here and copy and paste. And again, all those topics are on there. So, okay. And then we got, what's this here?
So, Mr. Toksinski, you're here for the Save Europe Act for immigration. Why do you support immigration?
Because I want my future daughter to be alive, not raped and killed. Is that enough? Is that a good reason?
In Poland is quite a protected country from immigration.
What do you mean quite? It's zero. We don't have illegal migrants. It's not quite protected. We did not let them in. None. Zero.
It's because you're afraid of what you're
becoming. No, we're not
becoming.
Afraid. We're smart. We are brave men. Look at me. I'm not afraid of anything. We are brave. We are strong. We are not political correct. We don't give a shit. We take care of our families.
Some parliamentaries of the European Parliament are afraid to support the immigration.
No, they are greedy. They are looking for cheap labor. That's what happened when Angela Merkel started this madness. This is why they pay the price now, because of their greed. They are greedy. They don't care about future generations. They are thinking about themselves, about today. It doesn't matter what's going to happen in 10, 20, or 30 years. They don't care. We do. That is the main difference. Their civilization and our civilization is completely different. We are thinking about future generations. Can you see the difference? We are patriots. They are hedonists. That's the difference.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Yeah, there you go. So Right Angle News says video of Maryland shows immigrant workers at Sardi's Bavarian Chicken of Bavarian Catering and a restaurant chain preparing meat next to a dumpster outside before leaving it on an open rack in the open air. Yeah, and that's okay. I guess that was important. So Marco Rubio and State Department can revoke Professor Shayoni Mitra's H-1B visa today. No notice needed. DHS and ICE can boot her for backing violent Columbia riots. Death to America takeovers and Hamas sympathizers. Over 40,000 foreign professors on H-1B visas stealing American jobs. Revoke her visa now. America first. Yeah, it is pretty simple. Yeah. Season 1, episode 17 of The Americas on NBC during Trump's speech. Probably a coincidence. That sure looks like a portal. I don't know, because you just gave us a picture. You didn't give us anything else. What's a portal look like? Do you know what a portal looks like? Have you ever been in a portal? Have you gone through a portal? I don't know, Joe. I don't know, Joe Rambo. I don't know. What do we got here?
Right here on stpetersburg.com. We are given a panoramic shot of St. Petersburg, Russia, with perfect dirt roads where I don't see a single person. Massive buildings everywhere, yet not one person. These photos are from
You guys want to do my lunch break? Nah. He's got his own channel. You guys can watch it on there. Philomena O says Australians Pedophile Protection Network released the 28 names. The legal system is infested with pedophiles and pedophile enablers. Senator Bill Heffernan, 27 February 2016. Never forget why we started. It always was and is still is about the children. Let's see.
Got some good news. It turns out those 28 names from the Heffernan report, they're going to make its way to the US. So, if Australians can't report on it, people overseas and in the USA are going to be reporting on it, because a lot of interesting people on X have a copy of it. Watch this space, everyone. Some good news are coming.
So, pedophiles in the Commonwealth Parliament. Former Senator Bill Heffernan reveals in Parliament that Royal Commission contains police documents naming 28 pedophiles, one being a former prime minister. Pedophiles are protected under a suppression order of these documents. children's safety always must be our top priority. Yes, absolutely, as long as it doesn't involve releasing the names of 28 pedophiles named in the Wood Royal Commission. They all knew and did nothing. Nothing can stop what is coming, and the fight to protect our children is one we must fight together. Never forget why we started. It always was and still is about the children. Crimes against our children. Military is the only way. No deals. We all have a responsibility to protect our global children. Nothing can stop what is coming. Yeah. So, and then Aberdeen University employee Heather Herbert has now been arrested over online posts celebrating Anne Whitcomb's death. Uh-oh. Yeah. It's a tranny. That's a dude. See, the Police Scotland spokesperson said, we received reports on Saturday, the 11th of July, 2026, relating to a post made online. Following further assessment, a 50-year-old has been arrested and charged in connections. A report will be submitted to Procurator Fiscal. And then Aberdeen University responds to the arrest of its employee. The comments that have been shared are entirely the individual's own and do not represent the views of the university in Aberdeen. We do not condone violence or hateful behavior in any form. We are reviewing this as a matter of priority through our established processes and are cooperating with Police Scotland as they carry out their inquiries, so cannot comment further. Yeah. And Heather Herbert is going back to sleep, and it was and some good news for once. I hope it was extremely painful death. Going back to sleep, and I hope she was handcuffed to the bed as she screamed in agony. Wow. Interesting. Yeah. That's not a woman. I think that's a dude. I don't think. I think that's a tranny. I'm not positive. I don't know. I don't know. You don't know. We don't know. All right. Let's see. Where do you know about that? 3 acts. Yeah. The violence must end on July 14th. An individual opened fire on our Euro Phoenix field office, or ERO. I'm sorry. ERO. In immigration, or it was enforcement resource office of the Phoenix Field ICE. No injuries have been reported. Rioters and ICE or anti-ICE agitators have shot at our offices, placed bounties on their heads for their murders, bit their fingers off, attempted to run them over with vehicles, threatened their families, and doxed them online. Yeah. Okay.
One very critical point to remember regarding Iran is that it, like many other vassal states of the Chinese Communist Party, is one of the global tentacles of Beijing. It's been exporting terrorism, and it's also been the thorn on the side for anybody that's fighting for freedom for the longest time, right? Beijing obviously has been giving the IRGC, all types of support, including missile guidance system, political or even diplomatic support, right, within the United Nations for the longest time. Right. And I think by dealing with Iran, really, you're dealing with the communist China's hegemony that is attempting to spread all over this world. So I think there's a bigger context here, and I think that's something that we must always remember, is that there is a bigger picture to everything. One very critical point to remember regarding Iran is that it, like many other vassal states of the Chinese Communist Party, is one of the global...
Yeah. Just had to let that go. Yeah. Ed Martin said, going to jail. John Harold Rogers, 64, a former senior advisor for the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, was sentenced today to 38 months in federal prison in connection with making false statements to federal investigators about sharing restricted Federal Reserve data and information, classified information at that. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see who he rats on. All right. Let's see. Let's see. So Just Jen says, great news. This creep has been dealt a federal indictment for the attack of Savannah Hernandez. And so did his hideous wife and their ugly daughter. All three face up to 8 years in federal prison. And she won the case against them in regards to restraining orders as well. Beat the mother and the father first, and then beat the daughter. The daughter had absolutely no standing, so that was pretty much the end of that. All right. Update: massive fraud scandal just broke out in California. Officials are panicking after finding out potentially 81% of 11,000 sexual abuse claims might have been fraudulent, which resulted in $4 billion payout. Yeah.
With billions of dollars in payouts, some legal officers and officials say some claims could be fraudulent. Senior national correspondent William Lajeunesse has details tonight from Los Angeles.
We're going to go after every penny that gets defrauded from this county.
LA County DA Nathan Hochman recently asked a judge to temporarily freeze the county's $4 billion sexual abuse settlement, saying up to 81% of the 11,000 claims may be fraudulent.
When these lawsuits came in saying that this had happened 20, 30, 40 years ago, there was no way effectively to defend against these lawsuits.
Hochman says many of the dates, names, and locations of the alleged abuse don't match the county database and wants them thrown out.
This is a multi-billion-dollar liability.
Attorney Patrick McNicholas represents more than 1,000 alleged victims. He says their claims were vetted over several decades. Victims were sexually touched or assaulted in county-run juvenile halls, foster homes, and shelters.
We call this restorative justice. The government committed a wrong.
LA County's settlement is the largest in U.S. history and leads a long and growing list of California government and private institutions sued since lawmakers in 2021 eliminated the requirement that child sex abuse victims file by age 26. The defendants here, schools and counties, admit they settled to avoid bankruptcy and...
Interesting. Yeah. So Matt Van Swall says yet another video has emerged of black female teens beating a public bus driver in Charlotte, North Carolina. According to the victim, the two girls broke her nose, damaged her peripheral vision so severely she could not work. The case against the teens was dismissed. Once again, crazy bullshit that's going on. All right. And then we've got Mike Steger. Let's see what he's got to say.
Has Iran become a naval quagmire? Has Trump been lured back into the political quicksands of the Middle East? Or are we witnessing a grand restructuring of the world's strategic map, while the old guard like Mark Carney are left looking for scraps? For 25 years, America poured blood and treasure into the Middle East and plunged our nation into cultural mayhem. Think about the size of our deployment over the last 25 years. We had 170,000 troops in Iraq at the peak. 100,000 in Afghanistan. We spent $4 trillion on these forever wars, and when the Pentagon did an audit, they couldn't account for $2 trillion. After 2 decades of American intervention, the Middle East was headed for total chaos, while the United States was facing a collapse of the dollar-based system. But after just 1.5 years of Trump 2.0, the changes are hard to imagine. Most people think that the chaos is the reality. So that's all they see in Iran. But this time the chaos is just a veil. It's what lies under that veil where we find the deeper substance. In this video, we're going to pull back that veil. The fact that there's no deal with Iran yet doesn't really surprise anyone because the problem's much bigger than Iran. And that's how the Iran regime is staying alive, by manipulating the bigger problem. The only chance for true success is a total reorganization of the region based on an entirely different perspective. And that's the real story. And underneath it all, there's a deeper secret about how mankind and our nation truly develops. I'm Mike Stager, and this is about writing the next chapter of the American story. We owe it to all the Americans and all the people in the region who've been destroyed by the insanity of the last 25 years. The stage is set for major changes, and you should be a part of it. So subscribe, hit like and the bell, and sign up for our Promethean Action newsletter in the description. This week, the new Prime Minister of Iraq stood in the Oval Office with Trump and confirmed that every American soldier will be out by the 30th of September. It's the closing of a chapter that ran for over 2 decades, and it isn't happening in Iraq alone. To see what's really going on, you've got to watch the whole board at once, because each move is bigger than the last. It starts with Gaza. In the fall of 2025, after 2 years, the Gaza war was finally over. A war that could have raged for years ended 8 months into Trump's second term. Since then, the guns have been mostly quiet. The hostages are home, and Hamas has even given up governance. President Trump reasserted his Abraham Accords, an agenda to secure Israel's long-term peace, built a board of peace for the reconstruction of Gaza, and created a new technocratic government to oversee the development. Now, critics will complain that Hamas will never disarm, but the leading factor for chaos is Iran. And despite Iran, a structure's been set up independent of the British and French and old European powers and the United Nations, a structure based on regional integration and local financing. It's all moved so fast, it's even hard to remember. But the reality is, we very well may say the same thing about Iran a year from now. And then there's Syria. And here it gets almost hard to believe. A decade of American presence led to a civil war where we ended up backing the same ISIS and Al-Qaeda factions we had invaded to destroy. Now we've pulled out entirely. Al-Tanf, the famous base near the Jordan border, and now Khazrak, the last major base, was handed to Damascus in April of 2026. 10 years ago, the man now running Syria was an Islamic terrorist practically on the payroll of Obama's CIA. If you want to know what a British foreign policy looks like, that's it. But while Bush and Obama created chaos, Trump's creating order. He's pulling capable leaders into positions of accountability, despite their past. He's not looking for angels. He's looking for regimes that can assert control and create stability. That's why the United States is pulling its troops out. We don't need tripwires for another war. And with troops out, the new Syrian government will have to govern. There's no more excuses. And then there's Lebanon, where for the first time in 40 years, Hezbollah is now being squeezed from every side. There's a signed Israel-Lebanon framework, while the Lebanese army is moving south into the pilot zones as the IDF pulls back. And then just this week, Trump got on the phone with Netanyahu and told him to pull his forces back to Israel, get out of Syria and out of Lebanon. The question is national sovereignty for every nation in the region, and that's key. And then there's Iraq. This week, Prime Minister al-Zaidi met with President Trump in the Oval Office, where the two leaders confirmed that every American troop, all 2,000 of them, will now be out by September 30th. From a force that once peaked at 170,000, we're now finally out. The oil-rich region will have American business partners, which will create economic wealth rather than the precursors for another war. And there's more to come. What President Trump started in Afghanistan in his first term, he's now finishing with his second. But no one even talks about it. It's more about the chaos in Iran. But this is a tectonic shift, not because of the numbers, but because of the priorities that are changing in the region. And our garrisons, with barely any staff, were merely tripwires to create a broader war. Now there's no more easy targets for the terrorists. This was the imperial trap, to embroil the United States in an ongoing war while permanently destabilizing the Middle East. And in Syria, Iraq, and Lebanon, the militias, which are often backed by Iran, these are now going to be disarmed. The state has to have a monopoly on force if it's going to be accountable. Iran is just the last piece of this puzzle. Perhaps it's the biggest and hardest piece, but without a regional shift, Iran could never be solved. And that's the bigger play. But get this, the troops coming out is only half the story. The other half is pipelines, ports, real development. And this is already underway. The Iran conflict has in many ways only accelerated this kind of progress. And this question of development, of real national development, has been the core problem of this region for over 100 years. World War I happened in part because Germany was planning to build railroads and pipelines from Berlin to Baghdad as part of an industrial expansion. The British saw this as an existential threat. So, after the war, to control the oil-rich region, the British sponsored a number of corrupt regimes and supported various radical Islamic cults, all in hopes of dividing the region and controlling the oil supply. The one thing the British did not want was strong nations. And this is the doctrine Trump is ending. He's reviving a system of real nation states. Start with Iraq. While al-Zaidi was in the Oval Office shaking hands on the troop withdrawal, his government was already signing energy deals with American companies. He's reviving a pipeline that's been broken for decades, the old Kirkuk to Banias line, which runs from northern Iraq across Syria and into the Mediterranean. It's been broken since 2003, and it's now being brought back to life with American investment to carry Iraqi crude to the Mediterranean without ever touching the Persian Gulf. You see what's happening? And that's just one line. There's a second one that's even bigger, running Iraqi oil first north from Basra, which is near the Gulf, then running southwest through the Jordanian desert to the Red Sea port of Aqaba. And this isn't a new idea either. Saddam Hussein wanted it back in 1983 during the Iran War for the exact same reason, to escape the chokehold of the Strait of Hormuz. It got killed by war, by sanctions, by ISIS, by politics, again and again over 40 years. Now it's back on the table with real momentum because of President Trump and because the Iran war finally made the chokehold impossible to ignore. Now widen the lens because Iraq isn't alone. Look at the Gulf. The UAE, which just walked out of OPEC to free its own hands, is racing to finish a pipeline to the port of Fujairah. This is a port which sits east of the Strait of Hormuz on the Arabian Sea. So their oil will now never have to run the gauntlet again. Saudi Arabia has been doing the same thing to the Red Sea. The old British networks have used the Strait of Hormuz as a choke point for over a century. Iran's whole regime was set up to blackmail the world over the strait. Now the entire world, under Trump 2.0, is creating new oil supplies, building new pipelines for delivery, and sidestepping the entire globalist game. And the same is true with the Abraham Accords. We're ending the regional tensions regarding Israel through diplomacy and major regional development. The same holds for Gaza. Clearly, none of this is finished. It'll take time, and the old British factions will be seeking to undermine this program at every step. But the main foundation is stability, financing, and sovereign nations operating on long-term mutual benefit. That's the Trump doctrine. Removing U.S. troops is just step one. The financing's been there. The Gulf nations are just waiting for stability, and the biggest problem with financing has been Iran and the threat of regional war. And that's why the Trump doctrine changes everything. He's not reinventing empire. He's reviving Arab nationalism and ending the breeding ground for radical Islam. By doing so, he's ensuring America can focus on rebuilding our nation like never before. Now remember, I told you there's a deeper secret underneath all of this about how mankind truly develops. Well, here it is. And to see it, you've got to stop looking at the map and start looking at what's underneath. Because to understand why this one region was the basis for a century of wars, you've got to go back long before the pipelines, long before the British, and even before Rome, 150 million years ago. Nearly 48% of the world's known oil reserves sit in this one small region, almost half the global supply. How'd that happen? Was it done by intention? Did God create these vast pools of energy so that mankind could one day harvest them? Because the one thing we do know, if God hadn't created these concentrated resources, whether it was silver and gold, copper and iron, or oil, bacteria can thrive in a soup. But mankind requires something greater to truly thrive. Start 150 million years ago. There's no desert here. Where Saudi Arabia sits today, there's a warm, shallow sea sitting right on the equator, bathed in sunlight. A sea that's alive, teeming with life. It's packed wall to wall with plankton and algae. This life blooms and then dies and sinks. And then the next generation blooms and dies and sinks. Over and over, every day, for millions of years. Like a constant snow of plankton drifting down to the bottom of the sea. Now, normally when something dies at the bottom of the sea, it rots. Bacteria will either eat it or oxygen breaks it down, and then it's gone. But down at the bottom of this sea, there was no oxygen, there was no life. The water was trapped and lifeless, and without oxygen, nothing could rot. The rain of dead creatures just piled up and got buried in thick black mud, locked away where nothing could touch it. Then time and the earth got to work. The whole graveyard of plankton got pushed deeper and deeper into the ground, and that pressure and heat turned trillions of plankton into black crude we call oil. But that's not it, because oil trapped in solid rock is no good to anyone. You need 3 more things, and the Gulf received every single one of them. You need a sponge to hold the oil, and this same sea created a thick, spongy limestone. You need a lid, so it can't leak away and rise to the surface. And when that old sea dried out, it left giant sheets of salt, which is the perfect seal. And then the whole region slowly buckled and folded from continental drift, rising into giant domes. The oil floated up, hit the salt lid, and pooled underneath these domes in reservoirs that run for hundreds of miles. Almost anywhere on Earth you can get 1 or 2 of these contributions, maybe 3. The Gulf received every single step at a scale nowhere else can match. And the oil has just sat there quietly for 100 million years, holding nearly half the world's oil, and simply waiting. Waiting for what? The development of the combustion engine, for Henry Ford, for the advancement of human industry. And like the natural course of creation, which required billions of years of life and geological development to create this abundant supply of energy, our national industry develops the same way, like an ecosystem of industry, but on a scale 1 million times faster than life. Factories that built the telegraph machine helped create the electrical grid. The factories that built the steam engine helped build the industrial railroad. And the electrical grid and railroads helped build a continental nation that's become the most successful geological force on the planet. We've created entirely new energy sources from barren rock. Consider the uranium of nuclear fission, or now the hydrogen of nuclear fusion. We're unlocking the fortunes of God's creation through new discoveries, all built on the advancements of the past, at a rate far surpassing the development of life. This is the American experience. This is what a nation is, a geological force far greater than life itself. These Gulf deposits of oil and gas took hundreds of millions of years before they could be harvested. Yet the United States went from a wilderness to a spacefaring, nuclear-powered nation in less than 400 years. Mankind is literally changing the fabric of space and time through our development. And this is what President Trump is reviving. This is what we call the American system. And if it's going to take hold, if we're going to end the insanity of the old British globalist ways, then such a system will need to be planted all over the earth. A system of sovereign nations fulfilling God's command to subdue the earth, to be fruitful and multiply, to seek, and ye shall find. This is mankind, the most powerful force God has created in his likeness and image, solving problems with the force of creation based on the love of our fellow man. And that's the overview. Click like and subscribe, sign up for our newsletter, and as always, thanks for watching.
All right, that was Mike Steger with Steger, I don't know how to pronounce the last name, with Promethean Action. Yeah. And then, let's see.
Well, now I think I understand why all of the political establishment was demanding that the mainstream media not televise Donald Trump's speech tonight. Are you watching this speech? If you haven't seen this speech, if you're not watching it, you need to go find it right now. You can find it all over YouTube. The Patriot Source podcast is live streaming it right now. Go find this speech. He's exposing all of it. All of it. Every aspect of the fraud that's been taking place in our election system, he's exposing it all right now. From the Chinese connections going all the way back to 2018 and beyond. He's talking about what our intelligence agencies knew, when they knew it, what they did to hide the foreign influence in our election systems. He's talking about what they're doing with ballots. He's talking about the election machines. He's talking about all of it, all of the stuff that we were told for years we shouldn't care about, we shouldn't worry about. He's exposing it right now for everybody.
Yeah, for everybody, not just Republicans, but Democrats too, because they need to learn that this crap is going on, right? Just saying, you know. If you could give any parent a piece of advice, this was...
Don't buy your kid an e-bike. If I could give parents any piece of advice right now, it would be don't get an e-bike for your child. The consequences to e-bike accidents are life-changing and deadly. And honestly, kids should not be riding them. Or at the very minimum, they should be wearing a helmet. So please, just don't buy them. Thank you.
This woman is right. E-bikes are pretty dangerous. I was able to pull some data for you to give you some examples of what she's talking about. So e-bikes can go about 20 miles per hour. There's a separate class of them that can reach 28 miles an hour. And some other models that are available that are like modded or illegal, they can go even faster. There's about 60,000 e-bike injuries in the U.S. of all ages every single year. This is per year. And 12,000 of them are teens or children that have to go to the ER because of these e-bikes. Children involved in the e-bike crashes are more likely to suffer traumatic brain injuries and things like this. And there have even been dozens of reports of children dying in recent years from e-bikes. So obviously wearing a helmet would help, but still, this is pretty dangerous.
Yeah, seems kind of interesting that e-bikes, that's the third thing I've seen about e-bikes today. I saw one that was a kid in Washington, in Seattle. He got beat up, and then the kid who stole his e-bike ended up getting hit by a car. Yeah. So, ICE St. Paul special agents arrested Admir Didovic, a lawful permanent resident from Bosnia, after he allegedly illegally voted in 2 state general elections. The U.S. won't tolerate those who violate federal election laws. Yeah. So, and then see, every American, whether Republican, Democrat, Independent, or otherwise, should be able to agree that we deserve the most secure, honest, and fair election system anywhere in the world. Secure elections should not be a partisan issue that divides Americans. And he's right. 100% correct. All right. Let's see if there's anything brand spanking new. Trump was president when China was able to get their hands on voter data for 220 million Americans. So the call is coming from inside the House. Yes, Chris, that's literally the point. It was purposely kept from President Trump and the American people in an unprecedented cover-up to undermine his first administration and his 2020 campaign. So, and then let's go here.
Yeah, it sounds bad when you hear about it, right? That voter data is available to China. But the reality is voter files in the United States are public. The basic information in that, your name, your address, if you register with a political party, as many people do in some states, whether you voted in a particular election or not, that's public. And the reason for that is the parties and campaigns want that information to engage in voter outreach. There are states like Ohio and North Carolina that literally have it up on the web. You can Google it right now and you can get it for free. You can get 1 out of 10 records in the United States from the California Secretary of State right now for $100. It's widely available to many. I think most in the election world have always assumed that nation states and others were accessing this information. There's nothing that anyone can actually do with that information. It's not like you could affect a voter with that information. It's not like you could change their voter registration with this public data. It's not like you could vote on behalf of that voter. It's kind of like I might have the entire class list for a college or university, but that doesn't mean I can go in and change the grades. And that's what's happening here. This is not really a big concern. And as Margaret just pointed out, this is not new information. We've known that China and perhaps other adversaries were collecting information on this for years. And certainly we have that memo from April of 2020 that indicates the intelligence community clearly told the president and others in leadership about this, about China doing this.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, it sounds bad.
People trying to make excuses. Yeah, I'm looking to see if there's anything new. CBS New York says the New York City Fire Department have come to the conclusion the historic Christian church recently set on fire was intentionally set. No shit. The South Bushwick Reformed Church was built in 1863 and served generations of worshipers. It will be completely torn down and is a total loss. Let's see.
On fire is most likely a Muslim, so let's just ask AI what they think. Hey, Grope, what's the likelihood this was a Muslim? Give me a percentage. So here's the reporting. Let's just see what AI thinks. And according to AI, there's only about a 10 to 15% chance at most that a Muslim was responsible for burning down this church. So obviously we know this is garbage and trash, and there's just no way that this is accurate. We know a Muslim did it, but you know, this just proves that AI and just liberal media in general is so biased to Islam and Muslims. And it's because of all the liberal propaganda that's constantly pushed into the mainstream. So this AI is trained on those data sets. And then you get information like this that waters down Islam.
There you go. Yep. Let's see. Let's see. Everybody's they're concerned about whether Chuck Schumer farted on the Senate floor. Wait a second, let's find out. It's
Iran and the NDAA. When all the
I need to not laugh. Hang on.
Now on Iran and the NDAA. When all the Trump administration now on Iran and the NDAA. When all
Senator. Senator Jacob with TMZ, did you fart yesterday on the Senate floor? Thanks, everybody. Let's get back up on the sidewalk. Senator.
Yeah, okay. Maybe he's Fartswell's cousin. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So, 3 immediate thoughts. Trump just accused China of committing an act of war. Number 2, RICO and Executive Order 13848. So let's go here real quick. So it was signed on September 12, 2018, authorizes sanctions. September 12, 2018, this order addresses the issues of foreign interference in U.S. elections and establishes a framework for imposing sanctions on foreign entities involved in such activities. So sanctions, key provisions, sanctions and actions. Sanctions, the order allows for asset freezes, and visa bans against foreign actors who interfere in U.S. elections. Reporting requirements, it mandates that reports on foreign interference be submitted within 90 days following the election. And then basically it's an implementation and impact national security or national emergency declaration. The order declared a national emergency to address the threats posed by foreign interference, emphasizing the need for vigilance and protecting U.S. democratic processes. So it serves as a critical tool for the U.S. government to deter and respond to foreign interference in elections, reinforcing the commitment to safeguarding democratic integrity. Yeah, so there's that. There's that. All right. Blame Canada. Blame Canada. Blame Canada.
Should we blame the government or blame society?
Or should we blame the images on TV?
No, blame Canada! Blame Canada! All the media liberalized, clapping heads on all the lies. Blame Canada! Blame Canada!
Okay.
Should we blame the government?
That's a little weird. That's a little weird. All right. Declassification, election interference, China involved until officials hid information from Trump. Obama issued burn bags to burn evidence. Trump orders DNI, FBI, CIA, and DOJ fire and criminally charge those involved. So as the chief law enforcement officer in the country, okay, this is the big thing. Remember, Hillary Clinton said on it, it's a good thing that President Trump wouldn't be in charge of law enforcement in the United States, because as the commander in chief and as the role as president, basically he is the chief law enforcement officer of the United States. So you need to go out, little one. Hang on. Do you want to come say hi to everybody first? You want to come say hi to everybody? I guess we could probably swap cameras and do all that. Give me a second to get it set up, and then I'll pick you up and show you to everybody. Come here. What you doing, baby? Come here. 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 Come here, silly. Come here. Come here. Come here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I got you. There we go. Say hi to everybody. You gonna say hi? Everybody's over there. Yeah, they're over there. You gotta look over there. Yeah. 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 This is Maddie. Maddie. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm Maddie getting the belly rub. Maddie getting the belly rub. Yeah. She getting it. There goes the ears. The ears are up. Yep. Yep. You know they're feeling good. Yep. 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 Are you happy? You love me? I think you love me. Or at least like me a lot. Yeah. I think you like me a lot. Yeah. Yeah. No. A little bit, maybe. Sort of, kind of. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. Let's get back to it. Yeah, she's a handful. No doubt about that. Hang on. I got to switch the cameras back because that one's shining a light right in my glasses, which I can't read the dang screen. It's time for declass. We, the people, agreed. And so it was. And I shall send frogs to destroy them. Yeah. 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 You ready to get down? Yeah. You want to get down? Yeah. Yeah. Here we go. Ready? Ready? Oh, no. You do? You don't. You do? You don't. Good girl. Good girl. All right. Let's see. Sorry, baby. Yeah, Dad's a little bit busy right now. Okay. Sidney Powell posted a whole bunch. Thousands of pages of foreign IP addresses sending and receiving data to election precincts and servers outside the United States during the 2020 elections. CISA, Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and the CIA knew all about it. Yeah. All right. DJT still posting during his speech. Intel Dark Web DJT at 9:16 p.m. 9:16 Q Israel for last. Wonder what was on Awan's server. We'll go through it after the speech. So this was whatever happened to this Pakistani guy who worked with the DNC. The president asked in an interview published Thursday by the New York Times, whatever happened to them? Trump continued with 2 servers that they broke up into a million pieces. Whatever happened to him? What about Awan? Is Israel involved? We are saving Israel for last. Very specific reason, not mentioned a single time. So, and this is a statement from declassification by DNI Gabbard on 16th March 2026, approved for public release by President Trump on 3 July 2026. The National Intelligence Council memorandum, vulnerabilities in U.S. 2020 election infrastructure, and it breaks the whole thing down. So this could be interesting. So this could be interesting. Let's go back up to the top, see if anything brand spanking new comes out. Okay. Let's see.
Mary, here are some of the dominant points. As you point out, he is claiming that China was able to get access to voter registration information about millions of Americans, hundreds of millions of Americans. What we don't yet know is whether they were able to do anything with that information. There is no evidence that they were, again, able to change the outcome of votes. The other very specific thing that he pointed out that I did take note of is that he said that DHS has found that 278,000 non-citizens are registered to vote, and that DHS will be doing a briefing on that fact tomorrow. Again, that's a very specific thing that can be checked out. We will look at, and the secretaries of states who conduct these elections, I'm sure will have something to say about whether this information is accurate or not. So again, a lot to unpack. And the final point I would make, Mary, is this. Part of his claim is that his administration, the top intelligence and top law enforcement officials, misled and kept information from him, calling them the deep state. That is a very damning accusation. It'll be interesting to see what some of those people who were in position have to say about that.
Give me a second, guys. I'm cleaning up a mess. Little one. That's not nice. That's not nice. That's not nice. At least right now, it's really, really not nice. Get out, please. Go on. Get back, I said. Stop it. All right, sorry.
Florida. That's being called a low-altitude pass by that jet. Now, keep in mind there were no injuries from it, but the Navy officials initially said there would be a safety review after that pass. Writing, during an aerial maneuver on an aircraft flew lower than standard profiles, resulting in a disturbance on the beach that affected civilian chairs and umbrellas. A lot of hats went flying as well, but a number of the people on that beach said they were thrilled by what they saw.
When they fly close and blow the tents up.
That was a first. I haven't seen that one. That was good.
They're showing out.
Secretary of War Hegseth has already weighed in. He said the flyovers will continue until morale improves. Dana, back to you.
All right, Steve, thanks.
No firings, no reprimands, no problem. Flight debrief complete. That's the sound of freedom. That's right. All right. And then Tim Walz doubles down on his decision to pardon the immigrant who abused a 10-year-old girl. Did that make us any safer? Did it improve the idea that we can't all be judged by our worst day? Well, yeah, you go ahead and keep doubling down on that, tampon Tim. Yeah, you just go ahead. Yeah, and thank God he is not vice president. White House declassifies emails showing that NSA members deliberately hid intel assessments from President Trump in 2020 that China was trying to influence the election in favor of Biden, deliberately massaged our one pending presidential daily briefing. And they have the emails. I think I mentioned to you before there is something, some pending. God only knows what that makes it clear. China has been caught conducting election interference. At least that's how it was described to us. But as you scroll up, note that NSA is. What are you doing? That NSA is deliberately massaged our one pending PD. While this is important for your report, I'm sure it also has the potential to be a near-term issue we need to draw attention to. This is a really good example. You want to go out? Yeah, here. You go. There you go. Go ahead. No. All right. What I've been raising since the summer, that the IC is deliberately avoiding mentioning a connection to elections for non-substantive reasons. Obviously, since the blank isn't released yet, they're holding until next week. There isn't a PDB. So maybe it won't end up being an issue, but this is a highly irregular way to do things, especially as someone trying to raise tradecraft and substantive objectives to the mainline analysis and isn't getting our work incorporated or even mentioned. National Intelligence Office, Cyber, ODNI, and National Intelligence out. All right. We have, and then, yeah, so there's, interesting. And then, Northeast Ohio.
Okay, so I live in Northeast Ohio, and as some of you may or may not know, there's a giant wildfire going on in Canada right now, and I'm literally right on Lake Erie, and our neighbors to the north above Lake Erie is Canada. Look at the smoke. Usually, you have a clear line of sight to my neighbor's house, but that's absolutely crazy. This is absolutely insane, like crazy. Typically, you can see all of these trees behind me without any sort of obstructions. It's crystal clear. Look at all of that. Isn't that crazy? And let me tell you, it stinks like fire. Now, right now, I'm going to leave to go to the west side of Cleveland for lunch, and I'm going to show you guys pictures. I'll post them to my story. This is nuts. Yeah. Okay, so I live in North.
Yeah, so those wildfires are creating a little bit of havoc. So this is 29 June 2026 summary of select intelligence reporting from 2004 through 2020 on Venezuela's electronic voting manipulation capabilities. Let's see. I need to make this bigger because, the intelligence community reporting from 2004 to 2020 documented persistent concerns about Venezuelan government manipulation of electronic voting systems and the potential national security implications for U.S. Election infrastructure. The intelligence established that Venezuelan government officials developed sustained interest and likely some capability in manipulating electronic voting systems, including Smartmatic technology, to influence electoral outcomes in Venezuela. The 2006 intelligence community assessment that Smartmatic's ties to Venezuela posed a national security threat was based on solid intelligence regarding a Venezuelan government intent to influence U.S. politics and the evidence of Venezuelan manipulation of their own electoral systems. This assessment led to U.S. government action forcing Smartmatic to divest its U.S. operations in 2007. Redacted reporting indicated that electronic voting machine or systems contained vulnerabilities that could theoretically be exploited by sophisticated actors with insider access. However, while the intelligence validated significant concerns about foreign-linked voting technology vendors, it did not definitively confirm that large-scale electronic fraud was successfully executed in specific Venezuelan elections, with CIA's baseline assessments maintaining that other factors better explained electoral outcomes. The reporting on advanced techniques like Redacted provided concerning insight into alleged Venezuelan government capabilities and intent, but came from limiting sources. This summary focuses on what intelligence community reporting established regarding Venezuela's intent and capabilities to manipulate voting machines, both domestically and potentially in other countries. It is not a comprehensive reassessment of all available intelligence on this topic, but rather a summary of key findings from select intelligence documents spanning 2004 to 2020. Venezuelan government interest in manipulation. Redacted intelligence sources between 2004 and 2020 reported that Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez and his successor Nicolas Maduro demonstrated sustained interest in manipulating electoral outcomes through electronic voting systems. In April 2004, intelligence reporting indicated Chavez stated his objective was to prevent the re-election of a sitting U.S. president, suggesting an intent to influence U.S. domestic politics. This finding was part of the basis for the intelligence community's 2006 report. Interesting. Yeah. Funny. Yeah. Caitlin, it's time to go home, huh? Yeah. Maple Leaf Menace, this illegal alien who assaulted a teenager, has no business being in our country. And she is now getting ready to be flown across the border. Yep. Bye-bye. The White House website is currently overloaded after President Trump declassified election integrity documents and posted them online. Well, I'm not sure about that. Let's see. Let's go to the whitehouse.gov and find out whether or not, well, no, doesn't appear to me to be overloaded at all. Not one bit. Not one bit. Comes up perfectly fine. I don't know what you're talking about. Worked fine for us. That quick, lickety split. Yep. So, Election Wizard, your magic isn't working no more. Yep. Might need to go and refresh that somewhere. Maybe find Jesus. Jesus might help you. Just watch CBS on the 2020 election night laughing off the pipe burst in Fulton County. downplaying foreign interference, and an anchor straight up saying the ballots still needed to be counted were Joe Biden's. Tell me legacy media wasn't complicit in stealing that election. Yep. And it's all going to come back to bite all of them in the ass. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's see.
The COVID cover-up hearing right now. You just said we don't have a democracy anymore. Can you elaborate on why you think that is?
This witness has testified under oath that the COVID origins report that the last administration issued was false. When it said that there's no evidence of a Wuhan lab-related activity in COVID, that was false. He just testified that when the last administration said that they were turning over all of the information that they could related to COVID, that's totally false. They gave us 5 pages. He said there are thousands and thousands and thousands of pages that were never turned over. I mean, it's unbelievable. We have basically a systematic effort to violate the laws of Congress, to lie to the American people, to mislead the American people, and it's still going on. The deep state actors, it is still going on. If you've got people who will just not follow the laws of Congress and will lie openly to the American people, I don't know how you can hope to preserve our country. I just don't know how you can do it.
The COVID cover-up hearing right now. You just said we.
So interesting that is coming out. And then, remember this? When was the start?
Hi, this is Joe with Building the Kingdom Network. This video is a compilation of all 6 parts of Q, the plan.
We're not going to do that, but we will go over here and we will go here. We will go here. And what I will go to is, because people just don't get it. I don't understand why people don't get it. But the fact of the matter is we are the plan. Us being awake is the plan. And people just don't get it. They don't realize it. They don't realize it. Not one bit.
Something is going on. Some of us see it. Some of us feel it. It's time to expand your thinking. You will need to reset everything you thought you knew about the world, about the people you trust, about history, about yourself. Let me tell you a story. For a very long time, our world has been under the growing influence of a vast transgenerational criminal mafia that was able to rise up to the highest levels of power. We didn't know because they talked and acted just like you and me. We thought we could recognize true criminals by their words and actions, but we're deceived by their sophisticated speech, wealth, education, beauty, and power. Through a system of threats, blackmail, and bribery, they would come to occupy the highest levels of power in government, corporations, and education. You may know them as the deep state or cabal. Most dangerously of all, they achieve almost total influence over the media, their primary means of controlling the good people of the world who were just trying to get on with living. They used this power to slowly convince us that we were the problem, that we were a threat to each other. They used race, gender, and religion to set us apart, and rewrote history to validate these false claims. They funded both sides of wars just to crush our potential to prosper and succeed as a peace-loving and creative force of good for the world. Now, with their firm grasp on the media, we drank in their entertainment and lies as they began their final phase, the total takedown of America. We were the brightest remaining beacon of freedom and humanity's last hope. They knew that if they could take America, the rest of the world would follow. They cut deals that led us to hand over total control of the money system to a private central bank, the Federal Reserve. This made it possible to influence Washington, D.C., and most of our presidents since then were beholden to the criminals in one way or another. Things took a really bad turn when they concentrated vast power into the hands of the many civilian intelligence agencies throughout the world. They said they were there to protect us. Instead, these agencies were catastrophically weaponized to boost drug and human trafficking cartels, assassinate political opponents, undermine the military, and change regimes of foreign governments who did not want to adopt the centralized system of money control. You might think they would choose simply to remain in the shadows running their criminal activities while we carried on with our lives. But as long as there was freedom for the people to prosper, the cabal were always at risk of being discovered and shut down. There was no way to continue without a plan to eliminate all threats to their survival, even if it meant imposing a single world government under their jurisdiction, where no national identity, police force, or military could stop them. They called it globalism. Exploiting our emotions and our instincts of compassion, they found a way to justify dismantling cultures, borders, and national identity under the guise of social justice, creating false narratives of racism, colonialism, and capitalism to destabilize and ultimately collapse societies so they were no longer secure enough to reject this dark plan for the world. Where there was no history to distort, they would use wars to force a catastrophic mass migration of peoples across borders to destabilize and weaken cultural identity. When we didn't accept this, they called us intolerant and shamed us into silence. By 2008, America was in advanced stages of economic decline, with disastrous trade deals leading to widespread loss of jobs and a devastating financial crisis. The cabal had now absorbed another extensive criminal empire that was aligned with a twisted and radical form of Islam. Realizing the competition could threaten their goals, they decided to cooperate and agree to mutual terms. Now a hostile foreign enemy was able to insert a subordinate into the U.S. political system who would become the president. Saudi Prince Al-Walid bin Talal funded Obama's Harvard education and took power by proxy, picking his entire cabinet while buying vast quantities of control in our largest media companies. The Western faction of the cabal was different. It was another kind of sick altogether. A dark and deeply sinister death cult with a strong reliance on symbolism and numerology, with levels of cruelty unimaginable to all right-thinking people. The reach and scale the secret society had achieved would have sent destabilizing shockwaves across the world were it ever to be publicly exposed. They were highly skilled at living just below the surface as they worked their way into the United States presidency. With both factions of the global mafia now in control, are you ready to hear what they had planned? Make sure you're sitting down. They installed rogue operators in government. They opened back doors to leak highly classified military intel and top-secret special access programs. They cut military funding and weakened the command of generals with irrational new rules of engagement. They worked to dismantle NASA and end our supremacy in space. They infiltrated and exposed defensive military intelligence programs that reduced our ability to detect foreign and domestic threats. They used our trusted agencies to target and weaken political opponents. They relaxed our borders and enabled passage of millions of illegals and violent criminal gangs. They moved money to fund global terrorism, resulting in groups like ISIS moving to capture vast territories throughout the world. In 2016, the Cabal Alliance had hoped to retain power. If you are not yet chilled to the bone by the picture that is forming about their intentions for us all, let me tell you what was to come next. Through international climate change scams, they would have siphoned trillions of remaining wealth, eliminate the last good guys in government, and withdraw total funding from the U.S. military, handing over the responsibility of our defense to the United Nations. They would revise the Constitution to weaken our ability to fight back, ban the sale of firearms to eliminate our self-defense, insert their people into the Supreme Court, remove the Electoral College system to neuter our voting power, and totally eliminate alternative media to shield them from exposure. They instigated a covert deal to move large quantities of our uranium to their captured states in North Korea and Iran to build up a nuclear arsenal that would threaten the world. For this, they blamed Russia, a growing force of opposition to their ambitions of global control. By casting Putin as an enemy and blaming him for this illegal uranium deal, they had planned a devastating nuclear world war between America and Russia that would have exhausted the last two remaining pillars of freedom for the world, accelerating the horrific endgame that had become inevitable. This cabal miraculously lost power in 2016 when a brave operation, led by a U.S. military alliance and their global partners, were able to return power legitimately over to the light. They had a plan of their very own, one that was many decades in the making. With Donald Trump selected for the role of president, the people of America were slowly awakened to the reality of the world they live in. With so much hidden and lied about in the media channels we had come to trust for our news and entertainment, this alliance of good set into motion a sophisticated strategy of dismantling the vast network of corruption that had almost completely overcome every level of government, industry, and the legal system. They knew they had to follow the laws of the land as they were originally intended. Otherwise, they themselves would be delegitimized, even though they were just trying to free us from the silent stranglehold of tyranny that we had come to accept as normal. The panicking deep state used any remaining power they had left to try and save themselves. Each day for 2 years was a careful and meticulously planned balancing act between public perception and the job that needed to be done. Moving too fast would shock and scare a sleeping public still living in the prison of the mind that was created for them. But after all this, it appears now that not only are we winning, but we have won. The trajectory of this great storm is now radiantly clear. Now we look forward to a new future, thanks to the brave patriots who risked everything to save our world. This time for good. There is not a person alive who has experienced what a world without this darkness could be like. A world of free energy that was kept from us to force our dependency on their fossil fuel monopolies. Abolishment of income tax that was illegally imposed to pay back interest on loans taken from the cabal banking system. Release cures for our most deadly diseases. Unleashed space technologies to open frontiers we never dreamed possible. New technologies creating millions of jobs and yielding a global human renaissance the likes of which we have never seen. Fellow Americans and citizens of the world, now it is our turn to shine. Wherever we are, we will become the plan when we choose to reject what they call globalism. We recognize the words they use to bend us to their will, and we say no more. It's time to turn off the media, follow your instincts, trust yourself, and be the plan. May God bless America and the world.
Well, listen, I talked to the intelligence chiefs in the last few days as we got prepared for this. It's very important to understand. The president said this tonight. Every intelligence chief vetted this speech. They made sure it was accurate. They told me they had never had been briefed on the size of the breaches, the 230 million Americans, the 220 million Americans whose data was stolen, that they consider it a security breach. How many times on your network have you reported that 5 countries are capable of hacking our election machines? When is the last time you reported that Venezuela actually succeeded in breaching a machine which has implications for our future security? You haven't, because it was never made public. It has not been made to Congress. It's not been told to the president in the past. We checked the presidential daily briefs. A president was kept from this information. Now we have a chance to fix a glass chin of election security, make the 26th election more secure. But listen, I talked to the intelligence chiefs in the last few days.
So John Solomon, all right, moving back. Mark Warner melts down over the fact that TV networks carried POTUS's address to the nation.
And a matter of fact, before I start, I just, as an American, not as an elected official, I was embarrassed that the President of the United States went before a whole country and networks like yours carried this as news, as opposed to a rehash of falsehoods. And it is incumbent upon you and any responsible journalist to push back on these falsehoods. I've been either chairman or vice chairman of the Intelligence Committee for the last decade.
If I may, on that point, since you raised it.
If I may just finish, sir. If I may, sir, finish, sir. If we don't call into question these falsehoods, this president is going to lose a free and fair election. And unless responsible journalists and the American people step up and say, our system, which has stood the test of time, is not going to be undermined by this kind of falsehoods, then, we all will have to live with those responsibilities. And a matter of fact, before I start, I just, as an American, not as an elected official, I was embarrassed that the President of the United States.
I'm a little embarrassed that you're an American. I'm just saying, I'm just saying. CIA Director John Ratcliffe says to support President Trump's transparency initiatives. The CIA has taken significant steps, including providing declassified documents for public release, protecting our democracy and integrity of our elections from foreign influence and interference remains paramount. This is why we produced key intelligence reporting showing that Venezuela's government had developed capabilities to manipulate electronic voting systems, raising serious concerns for U.S. election infrastructure security. I have long publicly highlighted China's nefarious efforts to influence the 2020 election against President Trump, as evidenced by my dissent to the flawed January 2021 intelligence community assessment. The documents declassified today shed further light on the Chinese intentions. These matters deserve a public scrutiny to ensure our democracy's foundation. The security and public confidence in our elections is unassailable. CIA Director John Radcliffe. Yeah. So China produced fake driver's licenses to manufacture tens of thousands of Biden mail-in votes in 2020. Now we know why they pushed to vote by mail and changed election law to allow mass mail-in ballots. Yeah. So, 20 minutes of prominent Democrats, computer science professors, and election security experts warning that America's elections are connected to the internet and easily hackable. It's, yep. So, let's see. And then we got more trans violence. These people are inherently violent, every single one.
Go away. Go away. You're gonna threaten me with a fucking taser? Are you stupid? Get the fuck back. Give a shit.
I just got out my fucking phone stolen.
I don't fucking
all
care.
kinds of shit.
I don't fucking care.
Bitch.
I fucking told you 10 times.
Fuck!
Man, it's creepy, man.
Yeah, I don't think I want to spend the next 6 minutes watching that. Clandestine says, my guess as to what happens, Trump will use this declassification to pressure the Senate to pass the Save America Act. The Senate will still not pass it. And after Trump proves that he exercised every option before going the executive route, he will invoke the Insurrection Act and save the Republic. What I know for absolute certain is that the status quo will not remain. Either the Senate step up and do what they need to do, or Trump will do it himself. The deep state know that Trump is willing to do it, and they're terrified of it. They know he's not going to sit back and let them steal our nation again. We will never cede power to our adversaries again, and the Democrat Party will face extinction. This address tonight was the opening act of the battle for the 2026 midterms. This is just the beginning. And I don't really care what Slotnick's got to say. She's a traitor as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it is literally that simple. All right. Caitlin Clark just snapped at a referee for totally ignoring an obvious foul against her. She got pummeled to the ground and was visibly shaken. She is targeted because she is white. And then her teammate got called on the exact same action as a foul by the ref. Clark immediately started yelling in the ref's face for double standard. Yeah, girl's going through some hell. Yeah. We now know China used CCP assets in the U.S. media and social media to incite this. That's Minneapolis burning, remember? I remember it. We were covering it. Remember back then? Remember how long? Fuck, do you realize how many years we've been together? You guys really get this? We've been together since 2014. 2014. We've been together almost 12 years. Wow. And you still keep coming back for more. You're fucking gluttons for punishment, aren't you? All of you. You got to deal with me and my fucking safety meetings. Safety meetings. Speaking of safety meetings, if I'm going late, I might as well. Let me look and see how we're doing on the generator, because I gotta keep an eye on the gas. So give me a second. Let me check it and see what it says. We're still good. We're still good. The only thing I got running on this right now is the computer, the Starlink, and the refrigerator, and so you shouldn't be using up pretty much anything extra. All right, President Trump says treason. FBI official wrote in an email they were running a shadow government to keep President Trump and the public from knowing about China's election meddling in 2020. Efforts like to manufacture illegal ballots for Joe Biden, but this information was kept out of his presidential daily briefs. Who did Q constantly paint as running a shadow government as the shadow president? Barack Hussein Obama. And that's where we go down to post 4235, the point to understand. And Trump said this word multiple times tonight, knowingly. If I'm not mistaken, he said it like 4 or 5 times. All right. They knowingly unmasked attached names to after POTUS won the election of 2016. They thought that they could prevent the exposure of this information and remain protected. Why did they believe this? What insurance did they have? Infiltration of U.S. government. This fact alone should scare every American. Shadow presidency, shadow government. It took this long for a reason. And it does make sense. That really makes sense right now because we see it. We understand it. We understand it clearly. You know, knowingly. All right. Let's see. NYC is melting. Johnny hit the streets to ask New Yorkers how they're surviving the heat. I take off my clothes and let the wind cool me off. I think we're heading into the next ice age. Ice age. There we go. I think climate change I fight climate change by reading books. Oh, wow. The earth is doomed. So I'm employed. I'm unemployed, enjoying the sun. Yeah. Okay. You guys are all whacked. Every one of you. The next ice age. Yeah. Yeah. And so Colonel Tower Watkins, retired U.S. Air Force colonel, exposing Operation Gladio and the international syndicate to the world, says, having listened to Trump's speech, none of the people who have been on the journey of uncovering the CIA and their nefarious activities were surprised by anything he said. I'd like to point out a few very important things. Number one, the documents Trump declassified will expedite everything happening in the grand juries in Fort Pierce, because the fact that they were classified draws out the timeline exponentially, and that isn't a small thing. Number two, he mentioned that the intel agencies, journalists, large U.S. corporations, unions, etc., were all involved with the U.S. government and China as early as 2018 in interfering in the elections, creating negative stories and undermining Trump. That is treason. Number three, he specifically called out Obama's involvement in all of it. Number four, he confirmed that everyone that was involved in challenging the 2020 election showed up in D.C. on 1/6, where we're all right. Number five, he noted that the FBI, DHS, CIA, and other government agencies worked to coup the country. Number six, they systematically, overtly, and consistently work to hide critical intelligence from the president, and that is treason. Number seven, he noted the FBI put critical intel and proof of election interference in burn bags to destroy the evidence. Number eight, he noted the CIA sat on information confirming the election systems were compromised and overtly hid it. Number nine, he noted the ongoing cover-up of the criminal conspiracy to overthrow the government is being hidden by NBC and ABC. Number 10, by notifying the state governments that their election data is compromised, he will force them to take action or they will be guilty of conducting known fraudulent elections. Number 11, the FBI discovered that China was manufacturing ballots for Biden and they covered it up. Number 12, the CIA is required to inform the Congress and they didn't, and instead signed documents stating it was the most secure election in history. Number 13, over 250,000 non-citizens are registered to vote in the U.S. While many people will say we know of all of this already, this wasn't for those who knew all of this. It was to ensure the legal system can use declassified documents to expedite what will begin to occur tomorrow, accountability. It will provide the impetus to make drastic changes to the election process in the U.S. It now publicly forces Congress to act. Sorry. While many people will say we knew, my caution, this requires the same organizations, Department of Homeland Security, Central Intelligence Agency, FBI, etc., that committed treason to launch investigation of their own organization, which from my experience inside government never works. It's my opinion we have moved to another phase of the operation. The speed will increase exponentially. And this is where the military is the only way really comes into focus and it makes people realize. Let's see, Devin Nunes.
This is breakthrough technology. When this is done, and I don't say this lightly, this will be the most important discovery and invention since the first Manhattan Project. So we did a lot of searching, John, all over the United States. We looked at a lot of the emerging nuclear power companies, and there's nothing that stands that holds a candle to this company. So look, we want to be right in the middle of the most important issue at the highest level. What does America really need? When we started True Social, we needed free speech. We saved that. Now somebody's got to step up and do something to produce real energy in this country, and we're going to do it. This is breakthrough tech.
So this right here is a nuclear reactor, a transportable nuclear reactor. Transportable. I'm telling you, this is going to be crazy. It's going to be absolutely crazy. All right. 2 Good Samaritans on paddleboards rescued a stranded raccoon from raging floodwaters in Austin, Texas. Well, that raccoon is grateful. Yeah, that raccoon is grateful. If you can, I'm feeling. He just wants to love on you. He appreciates you. He's going to go right between your legs. Oh, boy. Don't sit on him. Jesus. He's going to sniff your butt. See, I told you he was going to sniff your butt. Yeah. They saved a raccoon. Good job. Good job. Good job. Yep. All right. And then Pigeon received a tiny oxygen mask from a firefighter after suffering from breathing in smoke. The Oakland Fire Department was putting out a vehicle fire when one of the firefighters noticed a pigeon in distress. The firefighter believed the pigeon was struggling with smoke inhalation and administered an oxygen mask to it. The bird flew away shortly after clearing out its lungs, thanks to the firefighter. Yeah, how about that? Yeah. So then what on earth? A group of teens taking shelter from a monsoon in Arizona began beating up customers inside the restaurant. Children and families can be seen running for their lives as teens brutally beat patrons and staff. We don't have to live like this. Yeah. Yeah. They got a monsoon going on and these guys acting the fools. It's happening everywhere. Yeah. Explosive diarrhea.
Yo, are you all right?
Come on, man. Stop recording, man.
You might have that parasite.
Stop recording.
Come on.
Explosive diarrhea parasite is in Hagerstown.
Yo, are you all right?
Come on.
Yeah, here's yeah. Oh Lord. Let's see. Oh, just because the word twat spangle is there, I gotta read this one. This massive twat spangle. Twat spangle. We got twat waffles and we got twat spangles. Yeah. Gemma Logren agreed for another 18 illegals from Gaza to come into the UK because one family member made it here. Yeah. This is the Ahmed multiplier. Send in an anchor, haul in the tribe. Yeah. Yeah. So, flashback. It's, it's not important. You're driving down a back road when you spot an old friend and have to pull over for a quick chat.
See if we can get Pretty Lady to come in. Pretty Lady! Pretty Lady! Come here! Come on! Pretty Lady! Come here. There you go. Come here. I knew you was around here somewhere. What are you doing, girl? You ready for the storm to come? You looking beautiful today. You look beautiful. I've been missing you. I know it. About to get some rain. Where are those babies at? You still watching them, or did you let them go? Are they driving you crazy? I believe it. I'm glad you showed up. I was getting worried about you for a minute. We got some storms rolling in. Here's your mate. You can hear the mate in the background. I don't see him, but I do hear him. What's he talking about? All right, well, I hope you have a good rest of your day. I will.
Yeah. And he talks to the animals, All right, mine is going bald. There's one thing I called correct. This
Oh!
Did he?
Left coast, this is going to be a strike. You gotta send me this, but this is going to be a strike. Yeah. Got it? Yeah. Oh!
Yeah. Well, at least you got something to do. All right, everybody's enjoying this. This video, and everyone in this video is a hideous communist. This one is so fugly she has to wear a mask.
Our city is turning the corner on tenant power. When we organize, we win results. The Mamdani administration is emboldening us so that we no longer tolerate the violence of evictions as a matter of business as usual. My landlord owns dozens of buildings, but he is not a steward of the public trust. In fact, it is the opposite.
Wow. Yeah. They're just like hoping to hoping to do something, you know. It looks like a circuit board under a microscope. This is why the unvaccinated are also referred to as purebloods. Purebloods. Okay. So now we got members of the National Guard distribute masks as smoke from Canadian wildfires spread across New York City. Ah. Wow, isn't it funny? Now everybody's going to be back in masks again. Back in masks. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that there's something. I'm just saying that. Okay, and this is Ashley Webb, and running for Senate.
Ashley Webb, what qualifications do you have to serve in the U.S. Senate?
Oh, I ran for office several times. Didn't win, but I did run. And then I'm a songwriter, and then I write my own books. And then I suppose my transparency, I wouldn't lie to the people, and I wouldn't deceive the people like we're being deceived right now. Like, we get lied to, smoke and mirrors, like what's going on with ICE, pretending like these victims did something wrong. Like, that's unacceptable. And I suppose the biggest thing is, like, I'm just an angry citizen now, and if I got elected, I'd be an angry senator, and I think that would probably be their worst nightmare.
Ashley Webb.
Fuck. Oh my Lord. What I don't have enough pot for this. I just don't. I don't have enough pot for this. Oh, there's not enough. There's just not enough. There's not enough. Oh Lord, Jesse Waters. Here we go.
Want to know what hell on earth looks like? It's called Rikers. It's home to some of the meanest, baddest criminals in the world. But this week, the mayor went and hosted a soccer fiesta.
Who are incarcerated here on Rikers, they too are a part of New York City. The World Cup has been a magical moment for the entire city. These are New Yorkers, and they will be New Yorkers when they get out of Rikers. They're New Yorkers today, and I wanted to make sure that we can celebrate this moment together.
Big game yesterday, Argentina-England. Winner goes to the World Cup final. And Mondani thought, who should I watch it with? How about 100 criminals? Armed robbery, rape. Innocent until proven guilty. Not only did he put the game on the big screen, he catered. Penne alla vodka, chicken parmesan, seared salmon. Those inmates ate better than my staff. One brute says this, quote, I've been locked up 21 months. It's been a long time since I had food like that. And I'm sure he deserved it, because if you're behind bars for 2 years awaiting trial, it was probably just like a misdemeanor. The jail's on an island, by the way. It's like Alcatraz, so they can't escape. But the mayor was all smiles. Most politicians kiss babies. This commie kisses inmates. Have you ever seen someone smile like that in jail? He didn't seem nervous at all. Rudy goes to Rikers. No one's in handcuffs. He's not making it out alive. But Zoe said these guys have been on good behavior, so as a treat, fish and football. He treated it like a regular campaign stop, like a union hall or a senior citizen's home. The goal's to make crime not so taboo. Like, these guys are just regular New Yorkers, just like the rest of us. Criminals? Can't say that. Tampon pardoned a child rapist to save him from getting deported. And he says the guy just had a bad day. Trump deported him anyway.
Did that make us any safer? Did that make the children that are left behind any more stable? Did it improve the idea that we can't all be judged by our worst day.
It wasn't one day. He raped her for 3 years. A bad day is like what Paulie P had. Well, he's had a few. See what Democrats are doing? They're conditioning you to not judge criminals like crimes or accidents. And we shouldn't treat criminals any differently than someone who loses his temper. We all lose our tempers. This is the first step in defunding the police, emptying the prisons, and abolishing ICE.
ICE needs to be abolished. ICE is not about law enforcement. ICE is about normalizing paramilitary force on our streets. And the faster we understand that ICE sits in contraposition to the Constitution itself, the faster we actually get about to being smart about the way that we do immigration. ICE is not that. ICE needs to be abolished.
This is Revolution 101. The Soviets unloaded their prisons, handed out mass amnesty like candy. Castro opened up the prisons, mental institutions, and then sent them all to Florida to destabilize us. Communists only want political prisoners. They want Trump behind bars, not pedophiles. These commies don't even care who they're locking arms with. They're just rounding up enough energy to overthrow the man.
I don't really care if, say, like Bernie Sanders or AOC go home and they're a secret Nazi, but they go out and they vote for the right things. Like, we're talking about
you don't
politicians
care?
As I mean, for the,
I don't know about that. I'm like, that's a. I think these are the lines that people are talking about. Some people care about that exact thing.
The commies have it all figured out. Their manifesto: there's no presidency, no Senate, no Supreme Court to keep society in line. It's anarchy. And it's open season on anyone who owns property.
Our city is turning the corner on tenant power. When we organize, we win results. The Mamdani administration is emboldening us so that we no longer tolerate the violence of evictions as a matter of business as usual.
Now, in New York City, if you crack a lady in the head with a baseball bat, the mayor throw you a World Cup watch party. But if you're a landlord and you evict a tenant who won't pay the rent, capital punishment. Mamdani wants to ban landlords from even asking for proof of income. No income, no credit, no problem. That's how the housing crisis started. And now he has a new idea. Government-funded babysitters. Yeah. You want a night out with your wife? You just drop little Jimmy and Jessica off with Cedric in the park, and he'll take good care of them. And we pay Cedric. We have to pay for other parents' babysitters so they can have a night out. Crazy, right? The party says sometimes you need a little crazy.
In order to get anywhere, even as an ideological moderate, you have to be ready for radical change in our institutions.
Now, Pete's got me curious. Pete's running for president. Does he know they want to abolish the presidency? Abdul, the Muslim candidate for Michigan Senate who wants to defund the police, abolish ICE, take away your doctor. If you're not into all that, you're racist.
I don't think people have really made the forceful case outside of his identity, to be honest with you. And I don't accept that. I don't accept
being Muslim.
Yeah. You know, I think, like, keep it to the issues.
So if a Muslim's running on a platform that'll kill me, and if I vote for someone else, that's racist to AOC. I should keep it to the issues. Well, him killing me, that's the issue. I'm a single issue voter. No one circles the wagons like these commies. The nipple Nazi got doged and now they're out for revenge. They say the DNC is playing too much Dem HR lady politics. They went from Me Too to if her mouth's moving, she's lying. Now, no one likes HR ladies, but I'm not hiring a guy with a Nazi tattoo. When we do interviews now, we make all the candidates take off their shirts for tattoo checks. Only the dudes. Some Democrats, not a lot, are fighting back.
We've got to be very careful for the move that's going on here among socialists who are trying to hijack the Democratic Party with their anti-American rhetoric, getting influenced by foreign dollars and really trying to undermine our democracy. We've got to stop it.
And this just in, Fetterman, says if his party goes full Hamas, he's becoming a Republican.
If our party ever becomes, and just make it official as the anti-Israel party, that's when I would leave, because that's been a moral clarity for me.
Johnny boy, anti-Israel? Okay, that's one thing. I get it. They're anti-American. Leave already. You can still wear your hoodie. Now, it is going to take a miracle to save this party. They're broke, and all the money flowing to AOC. The cross-legged Messiah thought this was going to be his turn. No. In a New Michigan poll, Kneepads is losing to Kamala, Pete, and AOC. That's bad. Newsom was supposed to be the front runner. Now he's dead last in Michigan, a crucial swing state. Newsom never should have gone trans.
In the same breath, he's talking about transgender folks that don't even make up 1% of the population. You can't tell my child to go across the damn street without my permission. What the hell you doing signing off, verbally or otherwise, on the notion that a kid can do something like that, like a sex change without the parental consent? The hell is wrong with people?
Vance went on Rogan and said, how's Gavin going to run the country if he can't even run his own state?
I still feel a certain sense of heartbreak over LA.
Oh, I do
because
too.
every time I'm in
Yeah.
LA, you can see why this was like the quintessentially American city. The architecture is beautiful. It's got its own vibe going. Like you said, the weather is amazing. And then you drive through Skid Row and you're like, how could any state or any city let this happen? Like, it's the first time I'd ever thought America, like this part of America, is actually more like a third world country than anything that I thought we'd ever become.
So who's going to save the party? Gavin's on his knees for the Chinese. Tampon's pardoning child rapists. Kamala wants to give illegals free sex changes. Mayor Pete's commie curious. And Mondani eating chicken parm behind bars. Is anyone out there actually talking about real Americans?
This ain't Denmark. This ain't Finland. This ain't Sweden. This is the United States of America. You roll over to these borders with the vision and the fantasy and the passion that, here I can achieve anything. I ain't trying to be like everybody else. I'm trying to be one-on-one. That's what this is about in America.
Stephen A. is going to have to run. I'll give him money. Not a lot, just a little. He's the only one making any sense.
To unmute myself, I did. Yeah. Fake news. CNN is the enemy of the people. Yeah. Yeah. It's going to come back. It's going to come back to bite him. Let's see. Never forget, as it starts to unfold, deleted tweet from Julian Assange via WikiLeaks at the time. Chief Justice Roberts is responsible for all 11 FISA court judges who allowed illegal spying on Trump. Yeah. Remember, MJ Truth Ultra said, remember what I said about burn bags? Recently, we found significant numbers of burn bags and information ordered by Barack Hussein Obama to be burned, but it never happened. Maybe we got lucky. Does anybody honestly believe we got lucky? Nope. Timing, planned, coordinated. I said it time and time again. They've always had this information, and the burn bags are the perfect plausible deniability to drop anything they want at any time they want. Yeah. So, let's see. Fake news. John Carl immediately went on TV to accuse President Trump of lying, even though he admitted he still has a lot more to look through.
The president made some extraordinary allegations. I mean, he said that our election system, our security is catastrophically short. It dangerously exposed to hacking. When you have no trust, there is no greatness, and we can't trust our election systems. But looking through these, we have a lot more to look through. I don't see anything that comes anywhere near making that case. What I see is documents presented that are intended to raise doubts about our security, but nothing that suggests there is actually a security issue with our elections. The president made some extraordinary allegations. I mean, he said that our election system, our security is catastrophic.
Yeah. So they're not happy about what Trump's saying. Let's see. Yeah, that toll booth ain't gonna be there. So, U.S. Senator Bernie Moreno, Republican Ohio, is filing sanctions legislation against Canadian officials responsible for massive wildfire smoke, putting millions of Americans' health at risk. I'll be introducing a bill next week to sanction Canada and the responsible Canadian government officials for this atrocity. This is interesting.
Tall buildings, but the smell of the smoke is definitely something you won't miss. It's intense. I've seen some people coughing as they walk through the downtown, not seeing a lot of people wearing masks, but others are telling me they didn't even know the smoke was moving into the area today.
I didn't smell it on the bus, but then as soon as I got down again, the same smell. And it's just like a foggy thing. I didn't know what that, I thought it was a fog, but I don't know if it's the smoke. Yeah. But it smells really bad.
The Midwest and the Northeast are expected to see some of the thickest smoke today, with almost 900 active wildfires burning across Canada right now. That wind pushing that smoke into the area here. This is what it looked like as a train crew moved through northern Ontario, with flames pushing right up against the train car before the crew was safely evacuated. And of course, now we have these warnings about unhealthy air conditions, actually the worst air quality that people are going to be breathing in years. These warnings are stretching from Minnesota to New Hampshire and Cape Cod, and they also impact some major cities along the I-95 corridor like New York, Boston, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and DC. And the fire danger isn't just in Canada. Northeastern Minnesota, thousands of campers were told to leave the campgrounds in the Superior National Forest as wildfires forced evacuations across the region there. Now, the smoke is expected to drift south.
Yep. Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Just saying. Something odd. Yep. Something odd. All right. Let's see. Breaking, a prosecutor has repeatedly engaged in intimate relations with defense counsel and defendants, including an illegal immigrant who was under investigation for felony sex offenses, and then she berated and fired her staff when they found out about it. This will not be tolerated. We have filed for a writ of quo warranto to remove Ray County Prosecutor Camille Johnson. Wow. Just saying. So, yeah. 17-year-old King of Lemonade shot and killed just weeks after graduating high school in Virginia. Aubrey Breezy Green, the founder of Breezy's Lemonade, has been identified as the driver of a car that crashed into a shed of a Richmond home after being shot. Yeah, that's crazy. Yep. And then... I forgot all about this. There we go.
You know, the only other adversary of ours who's anywhere near as good as the Russians is China. So why should Russia have all the fun? And since Russia is clearly backing Republicans, why don't we ask China to back us?
I hereby tonight ask China.
That's right. And not only that, China, if you're listening, why don't you get Trump's tax returns? I'm sure our media would richly reward you. You know,
Yeah. So now I want you guys to watch the beginning of this video and watch her head movements. Okay. Pay attention closely to her head movements. This is the real Hillary Clinton with Kuru.
the only other adversary of ours who's anywhere near as good as the Russians is China. So why should Russia have all the fun? And since Russia is clearly backing Republicans, why don't we ask China to back us?
I hereby tonight ask China.
That's right. And not only that, China, if you're listening, why don't you get Trump's tax returns? I'm sure our media would richly reward you. You know,
But the head
the only other adversary.
Just watch her head movements. The way that the head shakes. Yep. It's signs of Kuru. That was noticeable during the election with her weirdly odd-shaped, yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm sorry. 3 hours. You guys have me long enough. That's all you get. That's it. That's all you're gonna get tonight. You got 3 hours. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's more than enough. All right. I'm gonna try and figure out what I'm gonna do for dinner because I didn't. And I will see you guys again. I probably won't be on tomorrow because I gotta stretch out the fuel that I got. So I'll probably be on Saturday. I don't think I'll be able to make it on tomorrow. I might not. It depends. We'll see what happens between now and then. All right. Remember, God loves you, Jesus loves you, and I love you. We'll see you again tomorrow. I'm gonna take you out with. Let's take you out with.
Imagine that tomorrow morning God told you, I'll give you 2 minutes. That's all you get today. What would you say? Who would you pray for? What would you leave out? Now ask yourself this. If those are the things that matter most in 2 minutes, why don't they matter most in the 24 hours He's already given you? The morning starts before the sun. Another race against the clock. 1,000 voices call my name, but heaven never has to knock. Then a question found my heart one day, and it stopped me where I stood. If I only had 2 minutes, would I spend them like I should? If I had 2 minutes to talk to God, what would I say first? Would I thank Him for His mercy, or tell Him where I hurt? Would I ask for all my answers, or simply praise His name? 2 minutes in His presence, I'd never leave the same. I'd pray for those who've lost their way, for broken hearts and homes, for children needing shelter, for the weary and alone. I'd ask him for more wisdom to love the way he does. Then I'd spend the final moments simply resting in his love. Maybe heaven isn't counting every second on the clock. Maybe God's been waiting patiently for my heart instead of words. The greatest prayer may not be longer, only truer than before. If I had 2 minutes to talk to God, I'd lay my burdens down. I'd thank him for his saving grace, for mercy all around. Then before those moments ended, one more prayer would rise. Lord, use this life you've given me to help another soul find Christ. Tomorrow isn't promised. This moment is enough. 2 minutes can change a lifetime when they're spent with God above.
But the nice cream cake, baby, I'm just letting myself be. Yeah. Well, today's been heavy, I'm not gonna lie. Too many thoughts rolling through my mind. So I grabbed my pipe, took a look around, and told all my worries, y'all can settle down. I ain't running, I ain't hiding, I just need a little room. Sometimes peace shows up quietly and chases out the gloom. Ain't no emergency, ain't no race. Sometimes you just need a little bit of space. It's an ice cream cake kind of day. Let the heavy drift away. Take a breath, take it slow. Ain't nowhere I gotta go. The world's gonna spin with or without me. I'm just gonna sit right here and let myself be. People ask me, Smoke Prophet, what's the plan? I say, brother, I'm just one old man. Read a little scripture, watch the clouds roll by. Thank the Lord above for another sunrise. I ain't looking for all the answers, I ain't chasing what's out of reach. Sometimes the quiet says a whole lot more than words can never teach. It's an ice cream cake kind of day. Let the heavy drift away. Take a breath, take it slow. Ain't nowhere I gotta go. The world's gonna spin with or without me. I'm just gonna sit right here and let myself be.
love, sweet vanilla drifting on the breeze above. I ain't trying to disappear, I'm just putting my worries in another gear. Life gets loud, that much is true, but I don't have to join in too. One deep breath and a little smile, and life gets lighter for a while. No, sir, I ain't escaping, I ain't hiding from a thing. I'm just slowing down enough to hear the evening sing. The birds still chirp, the wind still blows. Funny how peace shows up when you let life go. It's an ice cream cake kind of day, sweet vanilla drifting my way. Take a breath, take it slow, ain't nowhere I gotta go. On old Marine with a grateful smile, just enjoying this a little while. The world can hurry if it wants to race. I'm gonna stay right here in my happy place. It's an ice cream cake kind of day. Now that's better. Coffee's warm, the sky's looking good, and today's a whole lot lighter than it was an hour ago. That'll do just fine. That'll do just fine.